Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
So when a team averages almost 200 yards rushing a game, because Mississippi State was kind of doing that, and you hold them to 77 yards on the ground, what does that say about your rush defense? Does it say much to you because it's Mississippi State and they have only played really Arizona State and Tennessee, or no?
No, I think, first of all, Arizona State might win the Big 12 again.
Yeah.
And Tennessee
can score.
I know transitive properties don't really matter, but hey, Tennessee took Georgia into overtime. Mississippi State took Tennessee into overtime. Therefore, I would think Mississippi State would be very competitive against Georgia, who was very competitive against Alabama. See where I'm going with that?
I see where you're going with that. And I want to do that same exercise with Florida here in a minute. But when you outrush the team 299 to 77, that to me equals wins.
Yeah, and I didn't look it up, and I should have. How many rushing yards did Mississippi State have in the second half?
Yeah.
Because remember, Auburn had what, one?
They did not have much. I'm going to get you that number right now because that is something that I can look up here on TexAgs Live. So if we're looking at the second half, they rushed for, they really did better than Auburn. A lot better.
Yeah.
15 yards.
15 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2 games, they've allowed 16 rushing yards in the second half. Now, part of that, of course, we know, unlike the NFL and college, the sack yardage comes off the rushing totals.
Yep.
And when you're getting to, but still, I mean, even if you take the sack yardage away.
But they only had 1 sack in that
second half.
In the second half.
Okay, well, see, even if you take the sack yardage away, it's not, it was dominant. And, I think people are looking at it now and going, wait a minute, what's going on in College Station?
Yeah. Well, and then I'm asked this question because I know the answer to it, but I just think it's good for conversation's sake. Why do you think people are doubting A&M? And when I say people, I don't care about national media. They can doubt. I'm talking about our fans, our people.
I think first and foremost, it still comes back to we've been here before.
History, buddy. It's all
we've
about
been here
history.
before.
Yeah.
And A&M's cried wolf before.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, I think the wolf is out there now. And his name is Elko.
Yeah.
Elko the Wolf.
Elko the Wolf, especially in the second half. Okay.
Yeah, now, and maybe that's part of it too, because, A&M has had some impressive wins of late in the SEC. But both of them, you probably could have been in complete control at halftime.
Yeah.
If not for your own self-sabotaging. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that's part of it. Say, well, we have this history. We've been here before and it didn't work out. And I look at this team, and yeah, they're winning, but look at all the things that, all the mistakes and the penalties, and surely that's going to come back on them. I'm just trying to think of since you asked, what's going through the naysayers.
Yeah,
head.
It's history. It's because we've been there before and haven't recently. So if A&M does what they're supposed to do, and this is funny how you could say that now and had you said it in the beginning of the season. But as of today, right now, okay, October 7th.
Yeah.
If they just win the games that they're supposed to win, they're in the playoffs. Well, because they're going to look. Right now, they're ranked higher than everybody that they're playing.
Yeah,
right now.
So they'd be 12-0. if they would win the games they're supposed to.
Insufferable show in the history of the shows. But regardless, we know it doesn't always play out like that.
Of course.
Florida can come here this weekend and bite you in the butt.
They can. And they're Gators, so it'd be a big bite.
It'd be a chomp. It would be a Gator chomp.
It'd be a Gator chomp.
We don't want that to happen, though.
No. Stomp the chomp.
But it's just funny how narratives kind of evolve throughout the year.
Yeah.
And right now, look, we have to see better discipline when it comes to penalties, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We've got to see better starts.
Yes.
Okay? And offensive starts.
Even though they did start well against Auburn.
They did, but they didn't sustain it through the first half, right? So, yeah, look, and Coach Elko would be the first to tell you there's a lot of things that we need to do better. But they're trending in a direction that I think we can all see a path to what we want to eventually experience.
Yeah. I think the competition is going to get tougher this week. I don't think...
Hardest game of the year so far? Or do you still think Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Look, Elko, we're all in his corner. He's the guy. We felt like that before they hired him. And he's usually pretty stand-up, straightforward, honest guy.
Yeah.
But he is not above coach speak. And when he says Florida's the most talented team, I have to question that.
Well,
because I think it's because they're playing Florida this week, and he's hyping up like coaches will do.
But let's talk about that for a second.
I'm not saying they're untalented.
Who would, before this, who would be the most talented roster?
I would say Notre Dame.
Okay. Who's got a more talented quarterback?
The most talented quarterback?
DJ Lagway.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because CJ Carr is playing good football.
He is playing good football.
He's playing better football than DJ Lagway.
I would probably still select DJ Lagway.
If you're going to play, if you're going to have a decathlon,
yep,
I'm taking Lagway. If you want to talk about being a football player, everything in high school would have probably said Lagway, but my eyes tell me Carr.
Okay, then more talented wide receivers?
I would say Florida.
I would
especially now that Dallas Wilson's out.
Okay, so we got that. Running backs, I would say Notre Dame's the more talented backfield, but Jaden Ball and company, they got like 4 guys that can run at Florida.
They do, but Notre Dame has Jeremiah Love and Denarius Price. And let's be honest here. Going into that week 3 game, we were talking about how Price and Love, if they're not the best pair of running backs in the country, they're only second only to the Penn State duo.
Sure.
We were saying that at the time.
I think we'd all agree that the running backs at Notre Dame are higher than Florida, but Florida's pretty darn high. Okay. The wide receivers, I think, are higher at Florida.
I agree with that.
Quarterback, to me, I think at his best, Lagway is better than CJ Carr. He's been injured a lot. And by the way, I thought he looked kind of injured in the second half of that game just a couple days ago against Texas. So
maybe, but I don't think. I got to say this: I don't know that a big game against Texas, from what Texas has turned out to be, is really the Rosetta Stone.
No, but I'm just saying, from what I've seen from DJ Lagway at his best, he's really good. Okay, defensively, I think Florida's a better defense.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, I don't think he's completely off. I know what you're saying though. Like, who would you favor? I would favor Notre Dame.
If Notre Dame and Florida were playing,
I'd favor Notre Dame. Who do I think is the better coach? Come on, Notre Dame all day.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy Napier and Mario Cristobal and a lot of the Florida coaches. Some of the calls that they make, some of the play calls, and some of the decisions. I'm just like, what are we doing here, guys?
Of course, Freeman was the guy that decided to go with the 10 guys on one play, on a game-losing play against Ohio State.
Yes, there is that.
There's that.
But I think he's overcome that.
I would take...
He played in the national championship game. He coached.
Yeah, I would take, yes, to your point, I would take Freeman over Napier. Yes, I would.
Speaking of coach speak, we did not get coach speak when I asked this question to Coach Elko yesterday. And what I was trying to understand is, like, there was a time certain teams, you know how they're going to beat you, right? Like you just know if they're going to beat you, they're going to run the ball down your throats. A&M this year has beat you so many different ways, and I was curious is when going into these games, is it like how you drew it up in the lab, or is it kind of like you drew it one way, but now you're seeing something else work? And I thought he gave a pretty good answer. Here's Coach Elko on that question.
Obviously, when you go into a game, you kind of have a feeling for where the advantages are, what the game is going to look like, what success potentially is going to look like. Sometimes, success is going to look like, we're going to have to make an awful lot of stops on defense because, their defense is really good and we have an advantage with our defense. Sometimes it's the other way, where we're going to have to score a lot of points because the matchup with their offense and our defense maybe isn't ideal. And then I think sometimes you go into a game and it starts going a certain way and you have to adjust. And I think that's one of the things we try to do really well. Like you get these analytics books off of a certain score projection, but the game doesn't always go that way. And so I chuckle sometimes when people stick to the books because sometimes in game the actual percentages and the probabilities are not the same as what maybe you thought they would be going into it. And so we try to adjust as best we can on the fly to kind of marry game flow and what's happening with the choices and decisions we make.
Well, the truth is that they're making adjustments in game back to that point that they've given up 16 rushing yards in the second half. And yes, I know there was a sack involved, but that just in the last two games, that's an incredible stat.
That's incredible.
For a team that struggled to stop the run against anyone last year.
What's funny to me is, again, the folks up in Starkville just assumed that they were going to run the ball up and down the field on A&M. Because what they do is what a lot of people may still be doing is they just look at the stats and say, oh, A&M's like 40th or whatever in the country in rushing defense, because it all goes back to that opener. And nobody takes the time. When I was on that podcast in Starkville, I said, look, if you'll go back to the play after, after the
Robert
first
Henry
play
Jr.
of the first game, after the second half, after that 75 yard, the A&M had been allowing opponents 2.5 yards a rush. Like, yeah. And that's going against Jeremiah Love and Price. So yeah, if you're really paying attention, you're seeing that A&M has an elite run defense.
Yeah.
But fortunately, not enough people are paying attention. Now, after that last game, they may start.
Maybe. And if you beat Florida, you did what you're supposed to do, right? Like, Florida's already down anyway. Yeah, they beat Texas, but they were at home, yada, yada, yada. But it doesn't matter. One game at a time mentality, one play at a time, and definitely one half at a time, because that's what seems to be what they've been doing.
So imagine if they could have a strong first half and be up, 17, 14, 20, 17, 21 points at half. And then just be the cobra in the first half and the python in the second half. Just strike them and then squeeze the life out of them.
I like to do that. I like when they fall.
It's just,
yeah. By the way, this is TexAgs Live. We are presented by
David Gardner's Jewelers. He's a gem of a guy.
We are currently in this awesome studio that we call
This whole studio is...
No, not even part of it. Just, the whole studio.
The whole studio. That's the Rollo Insurance Studio. Jason, Jackson, Morgan, and the boys.
And the boys. And they have ladies there, too.
Yeah, too.
And we are currently in an hour that has a name.
Yeah, it's the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations.
Yeah, CC Creations. And also, currently, we are sitting in the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
Why is it so cool?
Because they help you make money and keep money and save money. And nothing's cooler than making a lot of money.
Heck yeah.
I mean, look at all those rappers and everything that you like. It's so cool. They're always talking about all the money.
I hope you know I'm Mr. Country Music.
Yeah.
I was playing country in the car the other day, and you were jamming it. You were loving it.
You were country.
Who did I play for you?
Morgan Wallen.
Who else?
Waylon Jennings.
Okay, see? All right.
He was country when country wasn't cool.
Yeah, that's how I roll, guys.
Barbara Mandrell.
Somebody get me a pair of boots. All right, and also one more bill to pay.
Yeah.
And I wasn't here to enjoy it, but I understand
It was
that
amazing. It
Bubby's
really was.
catering and bartending, they were here.
Yeah.
What do they have this week? Last week?
Last week they had barbecue. Yeah. So
Whatever they bring, it's good.
So if you want to be a part of the show by calling or texting, you call us or text us on the
Bubby's
catering
and
bartending
hotline. What's that number?
That would be 693-1150. 797-693.
797, pardon what?
Did I say 797?
You did. Sorry.
Okay.
979.
979. I'm dyslexic this morning. 979.
This morning?
693-1150, especially this morning.
I'm just kidding with you. Let's go around the room and say hi to the folks. Behind the glass is my friend, our director, Nick Savage.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
Howdy, how are you?
I'm good. Good.
Good.
Fun to little, discussion piece. ESPN every week updates their strength of record metric, right? Quote
SOR.
unquote. And it's like their FPI, like, it can be kind of funky, but obviously when A&M's at the top, we kind of like it, right? So 7 weeks into the season, according to ESPN, A&M's strength of record, best in the country ahead of Miami, which I know a lot of people say they have the best resume. If you look at it, Ohio State is 3, Oregon 4. Closest SEC team is Ole Miss at 5. So do y'all agree with that? Do you even care with their metric?
I don't care, but if I had, look, I'm sorry. It's amazing what A&M's done.
Yep.
And I hope they keep it going. But really, objectively, Miami's played the toughest schedule.
Yeah.
They played 3 teams that are ranked. Now, they did get Notre Dame at home.
Yep.
Whereas A&M played them on the road. And so but they've also played, South Florida?
Hey, by the way,
and somebody else who's ranked.
Does anybody in the country understand how the FPI works?
No.
Nick, do you?
No, not at all.
All right, I'm just going to tell
because A&M's like 7th in the SEC still.
Well, I'm going to read you teams above A&M on the FPI, okay? And then just stop me where they've made a mistake. Like it just doesn't make sense. Ohio State, cool. Oregon, cool. Alabama, okay, fine, whatever.
A&M didn't lose to Florida State.
No. Indiana, fine. Whatever. Okay, here's one. I think
they blew out Illinois. Okay. What's Illinois?
You'll like this one. Notre Dame.
Really?
Yeah, Notre Dame. Let's keep playing. Keep playing the game. Georgia. They got a loss. Fine. Ole Miss, undefeated. Fine. Oh, here's one. Texas.
We're still?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Why am I laughing like the Joker?
What? Why do they even have that?
Hold on. This one's cool. Right after Texas?
Yeah.
The Hurricanes of Miami.
Okay, so Miami.
I'll keep going. Just.
So Notre Dame's ahead of both Miami and A&M.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter like the actual outcome.
Why even play the games?
That's what I'm saying.
I'll give you a couple other ones before we get to A&M. USC, Tennessee, the Michigan Wolverines, and then the Texas Aggies. For the record, Oklahoma is behind A&M.
So wait. So let me get this. So ESPN has one metric or one
the strength of record
that says that A&M has played the strongest.
Strength of schedule, strength of record.
That's kind of, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be what that is? Strength of record.
It's strength of caca. That's what it is. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah, I think you say that.
Poop. It's just terrible.
But I mean, aren't these from the same company? These are both from ESPN.
Yeah. It's like having the Bronny poll and the Zane poll, right? And they're just completely on different ends.
Well, I know which end that ESPN is.
Came out the back end. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. That's where we find McKinley Polansky. What's up, Popo?
Hey, how are y'all?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just so happy to be an Aggie, honestly.
Whoop.
Whoop. I can finally whoop now.
You got your ring?
No, but you have to be a junior.
Oh, that's what it is. That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, so whoop, there it is.
Whoop.
Does it bother you when adolescents, like 9-year-olds, are whooping though at games?
No, because growing up, I would see my parents do it, and I think I would do it too.
It's just when you get to college, you got to.
Yes, when you get to college, freshman, sophomore, they can't be whooping.
Yeah.
Or A. Or AA.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know that rule.
Yeah, it's a rule. Yeah, you'll get in trouble. There'll be a conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh. So don't you dare. Don't you cross that line, young man. All right, Pulaski, what do you have?
A lot. Starting with volleyball, Texas A&M volleyball's Afina Kos-Okpala earned back-to-back SEC Player of the Week and Defensive Player of the Week honors following a pair of dominant road victories, the league announced Monday afternoon. Her weekly honor counter now stands at 10 as she secured her third SEC Player of the Week honor and the seventh Defensive Player of the Week award of her career, following a pair of wins over South Carolina and Alabama. She recorded 14 blocks, 13 kills, and 7 aces in her 7 sets of work.
Back-to-back like Lethal Weapon, buddy.
Yeah. Okay.
What else do you have? One more.
Texas A&M's Cassius Howell and Damian Sanford earned SEC weekly honors after leading the Aggie defense in a 31-9 victory over Mississippi State. Sanford was named SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Howell was named SEC Defensive Line Player of the Week. And fun fact, Cassius Howell became the first Aggie to record 3 sacks in multiple games in a season since Von Miller in 2009, and the first SEC player to do it since 2018.
I got a factoid.
Okay, tell me more.
That year, that 2009, Vaughn finished with 17 sacks. That's the highest total. There hadn't been a higher total since then. And if Cassius Howell, he's on a current pace, he has 7. So let's say he gets 14. That will be the highest total since Von Miller in 2009. And by the way, why stop at 14?
Right, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and with some playoff games, playing 16 games, you'd expect him to.
Somebody on I think either on YouTube or TexAgs.com were like, Nuño, no beat. Stop talking about a national championship. We're not talking about a national championship.
Just saying, if they played 16 games.
If they lose 10 games in a row, you can play the if game. They're not going to.
Okay.
Right. It feels different.
I'll just go on the premise of 15 games. That would be 21 sacks.
I would love that. Hey, if we got Vaughn and Cassius together, so try to find a way to eat at 17. We don't even need them to be there. Honestly, just normal people should go to 1775. You don't have to be a sack leader.
You'd be abnormal if you didn't want to.
Yeah, this is a good point.
We go to 1775. Everybody likes Texas barbecue. In fact, it's the best barbecue on the planet. It might be the best food on the planet.
I was in Florida this week, and there was a barbecue place, and my family was like, you want to stop there? I go, dude, I don't eat anything but Texas barbecue. I'm not eating Florida barbecue.
Right.
No, thanks.
No. I mean, you come from barbecue heaven.
Yeah.
And you can't do better than 1775.
Cannot do better. No, you cannot. And
it's heavenly.
And while it is a barbecue joint, their queso mac and cheese is barbecue-esque.
It's the perfect side dish.
And it could be the main dish.
Oh, yeah, it could be. In fact, I've got this whole idea of chop up some of that succulent brisket and just dump it into some of that.
Just mix it. It's going in the same hole anyway. Why not?
Right down the old pie hole. But in this case, it's going to be the barbecue hole.
979-492-6241. Check out the website, 1775txbbq.com. It's very good.
It's very good.
It's delicious, actually. Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free $99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas, it's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. Think she's watched the show?
Plansky?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No chance?
No. No chance.
You ever watch Dukes of Hazzard?
But I've heard of it. Like, I know what that is, but
Yeah.
I've never watched it.
It's a Civil War documentary. It's really good.
I've never watched it.
Just kidding with you.
Oh.
TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner Fielders. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the
Go Hour.
Yeah, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's do a little performance of the week. I know Polanski's got a couple, but
I do.
You start us off, Obie.
Oh, there's so many. Gosh. Where I want to go? I could come up with 5 off the top of my head. I'm going to say Reuben Owens.
He was on my list right there.
Of course, 142-yard career high.
Yeah.
Season high for the Aggies, 142 yards. I think that's the highest A&M rushing output since Devon Achane in that
LSU game.
That game against LSU when he had 215.
You know what's interesting about Reuben's game is that I think he could have had more, and I mean this as a thing of a sign of respect. I don't mean it negatively. There were a couple runs where he was a step away from breaking like a 30-yard run.
Right.
Like he had a great game, and yet he was still a step away from an even better game.
It just gives you more confidence moving forward
Yes.
because, of course, last year when Le'Veon went down, so did the Aggies, and
even though I thought Amari played great last year, but different type of running back, no doubt. Let's do another one, Ovi. Who else?
Well, I look on the other side of the ball.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Damian Sanford. How do you not? I mean, the SEC said so. But he had the sack. And remember the tackle for loss he had? He comes on like a blitz on a run. I think they're trying to run a draw.
Yeah.
And he hits the guy, and he bends him over backward, and the ball goes flying backward. I think they ruled him down, the kid down. It was their third-string running back. I don't think he came in after that.
No.
But, yeah, Sanford, what's going on with that kid? He has he has 19 tackles, I think, on the year, and 18 of them have been in the last 3 games, really 2.5.
He's an example of somebody who trusts the process, who put his head down, started working, and when he was given the opportunity, he took over.
Talk about hitting pinch hit home runs after home run.
Let me give another one, shall we? The guy we just talked about a moment ago, Cassius Howell. 3 sacks, a hat trick again.
Yeah.
Let's do it one more time. One more hat trick. Why not?
Yeah, a hat trick of hat tricks.
Yeah.
They call them sack tricks.
Sack tricks. Yeah.
There's even more guys to mention.
Can we talk a little bit about the receivers? Because I think
yeah.
they both deserve, because like when you look at their numbers, like receiving wise, this is what I find interesting. You look at Craver, he had 80 yards. And you're like, he had it. Yeah, because he's had a 200-yard game.
I know,
this year,
80
right?
yards is a heck of a day.
Casey Concepcion, he had 61 yards. He had 2 touchdowns.
I wonder if Casey Concepcion ever played basketball, and I wonder if he could dunk.
Oh,
and I'm betting he could. Did you that when he goes up and got that 2-yard touchdown pass?
And
how
also,
high was he?
I think he could be an offensive lineman. Did you see how he pushed that group to get the touchdown?
He had a big assist from Nate Okecher.
I'm gonna give him I'm just trying to give him a love. But he fought.
How about the punt returns?
There you go.
The guy's a complete football player.
He is a complete football player. Let's see. Anybody else we can add to the list? McKinley Polanski at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Yes. Going back to Aggie volleyball, Afina Kozakpala in the opening match last week against South Carolina, she recorded her second double-digit block game of conference play with 1 solo and 9 assisted stuffs. She remains the only player in the SEC to eclipse 10 in a game during league play and added 7 kills and 2 aces in the 4-set victory. Then on their matchup in Tuscaloosa on Sunday, she recorded a career-high 5 aces in the win, becoming only the second Aggie to record 5 aces in a 3-set conference match in program history. Her dominance at the service line was highlighted in the second set with a 12-0 run leading to a 25-9 win in the frame. She added 6 kills and 4 blocks in the game, accounting for 13 points in the fixture. The Aggies have the first ever top 10 matchup at Reed Arena against number 3 Kentucky on Wednesday with the first serve set for 6 p.m. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
But she had a great week.
Do we have time for a short soccer one, perhaps? You got somebody you want to? Because they did beat Texas over the week. I'm going to give Coach G Performance of the Week. His record against Texas, ridiculous. I forget what it is, 22-4, 23-4, something like that. Maybe 24-6. He just keeps beating them.
What's funny is how good the football team was and how many guys played well. That, you can be a quarterback that throws 2 touchdown passes and runs for another one, and you can't even get
Yeah.
That's how good.
Marcel in the second half?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Torian York.
Yeah, we forgot about Torian.
By the way, he led the team with 10 tackles.
Yep. All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back. Aggie Land Hydration and Injectables. I have a friend that does this show with me. He's on the Go Hour, and he's big into electrolytes. Well, OB, if you know this guy that I'm talking about, let him know about Aggie Land Hydration and Injectables because they're an IV hydration company founded back in 2024, and they're going to give you a quick boost of hydration or a dehydration preventative. They can tailor any IV cocktail specific to your needs. So when you have a busy weekend, you're covering an Aggie football game, you're going to a great festival, you have soccer, whatever it may be, you're outdoors all day, a personalized, accessible wellness option here in town to help you feel better is our good friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. And they also have all the necessary vitamins and minerals to get you going. It is Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Call them up, 979-217-1561. That is 979-217-1561. You can text them as well. It is Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Say hi to Sheldon and Danny for me. Everyone, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. EventPipe is a leader in hotel booking technology, and they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. And thanks to their partnership between Texas Aggies United and EventPipe, whether you're heading to the game or a business trip or a family vacation, every room that you book helps them put cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes everywhere. So with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. And by the way, they've created this awesome product called Presto that is EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So I want you guys to book your next trip the smart way through EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL and Texas Aggies United. What you need to do is visit partners.eventpipe.com/Texas Aggies United. Go check out our good friends at EventPipe. We're back. TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It's still the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We go to the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, joined by our dear friend Charean Williams, a Pro Football Talk, an Aggie great, a Hall of Famer, and just an awesome friend. Charean, good morning.
Good morning. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So you've seen a lot of Aggie football. Okay. I just want to get your thoughts on what it feels like this year to watch Aggie football compared to years past. Like, is this the best you have felt since 2020, since 2012, since last year? Like, so far, 5 games in, how good does this feel compared to some other good years?
Yeah, well, 2020 was such a weird year with COVID. They played awfully well, but, not going to the game, I went to one game that year, and not going to the games and being there, and the small fan base because of that was a weird year. I would go back to 2012, I think, probably the best that they've played and the funnest it's been to watch this team. They're playing at a high level, and you hope that they can keep it going the rest of the way, and they have that one game at a time mentality. The coach speak and don't let anybody sneak up on you because they know what you are now. They know what they have to do to try to beat you. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Charean, what does this team need, or what's missing from this team to be a championship caliber team? And when I say championship caliber, I mean the whole enchilada, the national championship. What is missing that keeps this team from perhaps being that caliber?
I go to 2 things, and I think they're pretty obvious. I think it's the penalties. When you start to get penalized a lot, like officials then look for that. And, after they missed the one at Notre Dame, the holding penalty on the touchdown play, in that Auburn game, they were going to call, and based on what happened at Auburn, they were going to call a lot of penalties. And then they did. And now you've got this reputation of, man, they make a lot of penalties. So we're going to be looking for everything. And sometimes they call penalties on things that aren't there, but that's incumbent on you to be better. And they certainly can be better at the pre-snap stuff and the post-play stuff. And I thought they were better at the post-play stuff. But the pre-snap stuff, you should not have a false start at home. Let's be for real on that. Don't have a false start at home. That's just silly. Don't have a delay a game at home. That's just silly. Why are you doing that? And I don't think they had any delays, but they did have 2 false starts, I'm pretty sure. So that's number one, is stop the penalties. Reduce that number by a lot. You're one of the worst teams in college football, penalty-wise. Reduce that number. Number 2, get out of the shotgun or the pistol on short yardage plays. Please, I'm begging you. And Olin, you like this tweet because I answered you on the tweet. I'm going to start a Cabo fund for every time they get in the pistol or the shotgun on goal line plays. If you take off your shoe and look at your shoe, that's how far they had to go to get a touchdown on the one they didn't get a touchdown on. That's how far they had to go, the length of your shoe. And when you go back in the pistol or the shotgun, and I would tell Colin Klein and Mike Elko this to his face, and any NFL coach would tell them this probably to their face. When you go back, you make that shoe, it's not a shoe anymore. Like you have yards now to gain. And it doesn't compute. Like, I don't know what you're thinking. Are you trying to fool them, thinking you're going to pass? I don't know what you're trying to do there. And if you think that Marcel Reed is too slight to handle the quarterback sneak, you got other quarterbacks sitting over there who are much bigger. You've got Terry Bussey who played quarterback. You can practice these plays. I understand you're thinking I'm taking the ball out of the quarterback's hands. I get that. But you can't go back in the pistol or shotgun and short yardage plays. You've got to become better at short yardage plays. Even get him under center and do some of the stuff you did, the misdirection and all that, and get him out in space, whatever. But you're terrible in short yardage situation. At some point, that's going to come back to bite you and cost you a game. You can't leave points on the board there when you've got all those plays, 4 plays inside the 5-yard line, and the last one's inside the 1. I mean, you just can't do that.
So you're saying that touchdown should have been a shoe-in?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it was frustrating. I mean, it was frustrating. And I had coaches' wives in front of me, so I was trying to be a little bit careful. I'm like, no, get out of the shotgun. Please go under center. Please go under center. Please go under center. And I didn't do it. But I will say, I was calling plays several times during the game. I said, give me a wide run to the left. Ruben Owen went about 15. I said, all right, give me a wide run to the right. I think we scored a touchdown on that one. They're looking around going like, okay, you can kind of see when they line up what they're doing. So, yeah, it was kind of fun because I did call a bunch of plays tonight.
Coach Charean Williams with us here on TexAgs Live. Hey, Charean, defensively, what we've seen from them, 19 points in SEC games. It is a stark difference to what we saw last season and even the beginning of this year. What have you seen?
Yeah, it is, and it's a stark difference to what we saw at the start of the season. I mean, they've figured out whatever they've done. They've just figured out how to play. And I didn't mention Terry Yart last week, but he was a spy in that game and against Jackson Arnold, and just played unbelievable. I'm seeing him just get better and better and better every week, and I think that's a big thing. And we talked about the defensive line. Like, I wasn't worried about the defensive line because they just seem to find defensive linemen and bring them in. It's really become defensive line U. If you look at all the players who've been drafted and how well they've done in the NFL, we all know who they are. I just think they find defensive linemen, and defensive linemen want to go to A&M because they feel like they're going to be high draft picks and be ready to go and play in the NFL, and they are. So the defensive line has just played fantastic. Hal's been awesome, obviously, with his 7 sacks, and they've whatever adjustments they made after the first, giving up all those rushing yards in the season opener, the first 2 or 3 games were not good. The tackling's been much better if you look at the missed tackles from the start of the season to where they are now. That's been much better. And it's hard to tackle, especially early in the season when you don't practice tackling. And nobody practices tackling. They don't practice tackling anymore because of fear of concussion. So you're using blocking dummies and that sort of thing. And so it's just gotten better and better. The tackling has as they've done it through the year. They're just playing at a high level. Frankly, it's been pretty amazing to watch. Like, I thought they would get better, but not to this level of better.
Charean, let me ask you about some NFL stuff. I'll start off with the Texans, and then why don't you start with the Cowboys?
Hey, so who's this Flournoy guy? And is Jerry being proven to be smarter than all of us after all, with the running back he's brought in and now this receiver I've never heard of going off?
Yeah, I really like what Javonte Williams has done. 1 year, $3 million that he got Javonte Williams, let Rico Dowdle walk away. And they needed to turn over their running backs room, and they did. And I think most people thought Jaden Blue, including myself, thought Jaden Blue would end up being the starter. He was active for the first time on Sunday, and it's the Javonte Williams show, and it is the rest of the way. And, I think the whole NFL missed on him. He's definitely a bell cow running back, and he's shown that with what he's done this season for the Cowboys. So he's been very good. And, those backup receivers came in, right? You mentioned Flournoy. It came in and just picked right up and played well. And maybe all they needed was some chances. But, I'll also say this. I've just been seeing too much joy and rapture from Cowboys fans and media on social media of, this team has turned – they've beaten 2 teams with a combined 1 win. It was the Jets. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, young Glenn, but it's the worst team in the NFL. They're absolutely horrendous. And I'm worried about AG's long-term existence on that team. I mean, beyond 1 year, they're playing so poorly. So, for me, the judgment is still out on this Cowboys team. I still think that defense is horrendous, and they're going to have to outscore teams to win games, and I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But, yeah, they did what they had to do, and they did it without a bunch of players who were hurt, and these other players stepped up, and maybe that will help them long-term this season to contribute, and that's what the Cowboys need. You need more than 2 or 3 receivers, and they've shown that they do have that, at least against the Jets.
Charean, let's do Ags in the NFL.
Yeah, it was just not it wasn't even a mediocre week. It was a really bad week. I think we missed Matabike, who's out for the season. We missed Myles Garrett, who Miles, what am I trying to say? Mike Evans. We miss Mike Evans, who is going to be back here hopefully pretty soon, next couple of weeks. I think he's got one more game to sit out before he can start ramping up to get back. And the Bears with Shamar Stewart were on a bye. We had some bye weeks, so it was not a good week. Let me just start with that. Shout out, I think, to Braden Mann. Averaged 51.3 yards on 7 punts. Pretty darn good. 69-yarder. Shout out to Dane Campbell. Again, he's got his Lions maybe looking like the best team in the NFL. Jaguars looked pretty good last night, but the Lions are playing really well. 3, Devon Achane, 10 carries, 16 yards. Like I said, it's not a real great week, but he did have a touchdown and a reception, a 10-yarder, 6 catches for 30 yards. Donovan Wilson, 8 tackles for the Cowboys. They did a good job against Jets, probably his best game, even though he had that interception against the Giants. 1, Christian Kirk, his best game of the year, led the team, led the Texans, 4 catches, 64 yards. Hopefully he had some better efforts. Myles Garrett did not have a real stellar week. I think he had 4 tackles and not what we expect with the quarterback hits and the sacks. They obviously did a good job blocking him this week.
Charean, great stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that is the great Charean Williams on the Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with one short segment on TexAgs Live. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas Maroon and Gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, "Yeah, Dad, you look pretty good today." From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. We're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Obi, something that I think we need to pay attention to in this game against Florida. A couple things. First off, Florida has been really good about not getting penalties. 28 penalties in 5 games, 5.6 per game. As you know, A&M is a little bit higher than that.
Yeah.
In the last 2 games, what are they? Is it 9 and 12?
9 and 13.
9 and 13. So
13, 13, and 9.
Yeah.
In the last 3. I'm regardless of who the opponent is, that A&M's got to do better than that. Like Charean was talking about, maybe Florida will be subject to more penalties just because of the
crowd noise,
the speed of a Cassius Howe. He may draw some holds.
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully the Aggies play well. I mean, now it's the old line that every game is even bigger because of what is at stake and what's possible.
Yeah.
If they can win this one, then go up to Arkansas and win that one, then LSU struggling, go in that long.
Struggling. They got 1 loss.
Yeah, but they don't look good.
They don't. It's interesting how you can have a really good record, and we can see through that. You can see, and you can have a bad record and see why a team can beat you.
Really, what we find out about Florida this week, maybe we find out this week more about Texas than we do about Florida, and it has nothing to do with the Texas-Oklahoma game, but it has. If A&M goes out and treats Florida the way they've treated their last couple opponents, then you start, well, how bad is Texas?
All right, we'll drop that right here. Thank you, OB. When we come back, Josh Pate on TexAgs Live. Wonder if Josh Pate was a big Footloose fan back in the day. It's TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. It's time for our weekly conversation with Josh Pate, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Huddle up, tailgate season is here, and there is no better place to gear up than Academy Sports and Outdoors. If you want a grill that says my barbecue is just as good as my smack talk, we've got you a cooler that screams I hold 47 cans to keep my cool. Even in overtime, they've got that as well. And fan gear that says I score more style points than a football spinning, back flipping, funky chicken touchdown dance. Academy's got that at undefeatable prices, because here the fun can't lose. Fun times now with Josh Pate. Josh, what up, buddy?
You never cease to amaze me with those read-ins. Not a lead-in, it's a read-in. You never cease to amaze me. How are we?
I'm good, man. I want you to help me navigate my emotions, taking off the analyst hat, fan hat, okay? Navigate my emotions, because I see a 5-0 start, and it feels different, okay? Last year, 6-1, felt one way, where I was like, I just kept on expecting, I think we can keep winning, but this year I'm like, I feel like we can keep winning, guys. Why does it feel different? Like, you know, because they're similar territory. 5-0, 6-1, lost to Notre Dame this game. This year you won 41-40. Last year it was a tie game with 2 minutes left. Why does it feel different?
Well, I'll give you my reasons, because I feel the same way. So let's talk ourselves through our emotions. The first is you're in the second year of a head coach you trust. That's baked into your subconscious. All right, now you get into the season, and I think the key part of it for me is I've seen A&M win two very drastically different styles of games. So I've seen a shootout, I've seen a slugfest, a couple of them actually, and I think your mind over the course of the history of watching college football has taught you when you get into November, which is the deep end, when your feet can't touch the bottom of the pool anymore and you're forced to swim, the teams that are able to thrive in that environment are the ones that I call toolbox teams. And I threw A&M out there when I was talking about toolbox teams the other day on our show. And that is the kind of team that no matter what problem presents itself later in the year, open up the toolbox, they got an answer for it. They've got a thing they can do. So Miami feels this way to me. A&M feels this way to me. Teams that can win in several different ways. I also don't think your eyes are lying to you when you just watch the caliber of athlete on the field. And you guys are around those players every day, so you kind of know what you have. Then when the season gets here, you can also scan the landscape. You can watch the rest of the teams, and you realize either my guys look as good or better, or our guys look inferior. Well, your guys aren't inferior. In most cases, they look better than whatever everyone else has. You've seen Marcel Reed take what you hoped he would take, which is the next step as a passer. And the reason you don't take that for granted is because you've watched Clemson play this year. You've watched Penn State play this year. So you know not only could it stagnate, it could actually go the opposite direction. So never take it for granted when it starts to elevate. You've also seen really aggressive portal moves pay off. I mean, I can't tell you how aggravating it is for other fan bases to have their own shortcomings on their team, and then they watch A&M, and A&M's like, we need difference makers in our wide receiver room. Let's go get them. And there they are. And they're watching Casey Concepcion. They're watching Mario Craver do what they do, not to mention just the guys who have been recruited there that are doing their jobs. It's just a really good team. So it's just a better team than they've had. I think that's like last year in the back of your mind, you may have been thinking, I like where we are. However, and then you just fill in the blank. It's going to take this, this, and this the rest of the way. A&M just needs to keep doing what they're doing. They're not a perfect product, but no one is. So, I mean, as long as they keep standardly progressing, just kind of adding stacks, adding a pancake per week, then by the end of the year, you really like what you have on your plate.
I feel it also feels sustainable because they can beat you in what you said a moment ago, different ways, a physical, tough-minded game, a shootout, defense limiting what you do really well. Like, I feel like their product, for them to lose games on their schedule, and I know there's still some big road mines, and this weekend scares me a little bit, but like they have to almost beat themselves, it feels that way.
Yeah, and remember this is not something fans want to think about, but in 2025, I think if we asked each other at media days or at our family reunion barbecue in July, most people's opinions would have been, there won't be any undefeated teams this year. I don't think many A&M fans were walking around saying, yeah, 12-0. I think it's going to be 12-0 this year. And so the reason I bring that up is there could be a loss around the corner. Like there could be a loss coming very soon. It could be this week. It could be 2 weeks from now. that is not cause to freak out. That means the season's going about how you expected it to go. What you're looking for is, does someone dominate you and beat you, or do you lose because of the extra, I call them extracurriculars, but the controllables, as a coach would call them, they're just, A&M's been highly penalized so far this year. All right, well, they haven't had to pay for that in the form of a loss yet, but maybe they do down the road. And maybe that's what it takes to get players' attention a little bit. Sometimes you got to lose to really correct things. But my point is, if the loss does come, does someone just run the ball for 300 on you, and that's the reason you lost? Does someone stone you and you can't move the ball to save your life? Or is it some stuff that we control got in the way? All right, we lost, lesson learned, and then we'll apply the lessons moving forward. That's also something to keep in the back of your mind, not to rain on the hype parade or anything like that. But it's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be clean. You're not going through this schedule unscathed in all likelihood. I think what I'm looking at for them, for A&M, for any team that loses a game is, did you lose the game because of things that are correctable? Did you lose the game because you didn't throttle the engine up anywhere past a C+ effort this week? Or did you really play your game and it just wasn't good enough? And the comfort I take, if I'm an A&M fan, is I'm looking at it and saying, I'm not sure I see this group losing a game this year where I say they did everything they could. Other dude was just that much better. That I take comfort in, because that means you kind of control your own destiny, which everyone tells themselves they do. But I promise you, like Illinois is lining up across from Ohio State Saturday, Illinois does not control their destiny in that game. Ohio State controls the destiny of both teams in that game.
Do you see Florida closer to Auburn when it comes to talent and ability, or closer to Notre Dame?
No. Florida at their best is a much better team than Auburn. Florida can be one of the best teams in the country at their best. They have not been at their best. Even last week, I would say they're still a level up that they could throttle from last week. It was plenty good enough to beat Texas. I expected them to beat Texas, so I got what I expected from them out of the bye week. I think now, the reward for Billy and his team is, all right, go on the road. See if you can do it on the road. See if you can do it in College Station. I think the thing that puzzled me all year about them is, unlike some teams that have poor rushing numbers, Florida doesn't have poor personnel. They've got a plenty good enough offensive line. They've got a tailback that was averaging over 5 yards per carry. They just hadn't used him. And then they come out of the bye week and they just do this crazy concept of running the dude 27 times against Texas, and voila, all of a sudden the deep ball opens up. DJ equaled his total passes of 50+ yards in the season just against Texas, which was 2. It's not like he lit them up all afternoon. You don't have to. When you got the kind of defense they trot out, if you're hanging 29, I think was their total, if you're putting 29 up, that ought to be good enough to win. Every game, really, for Florida, it ought to be good enough to win. So then they come in there. Now, look, since you've seen them do it once this year, then the question becomes, is there any shot of consistency with this team? But the reason why that Florida A&M game, it maybe slept on nationally a little bit, I'd expect a war Saturday. Like, I would expect a top 10 caliber performance from Florida. They're not a top 10 team, but that is a team at its best that's capable. They're think of them as a pitcher. They're all over the place. They're inconsistent. They're wild. But at any given point, they can throw 99 down and away on the black and make you look foolish. Florida can do that at their best. So that's what I'd expect. And if they don't bring it, you'll just win 38-10. But it's best to be ready for it.
Do you think that Florida fans should be a little worried about what they saw from Lagway? Because it looked like he was not very mobile in the second half against Texas.
I think that's just what you have to live with. And if that's incorrect and it just so happens to be the way he played, great. But I kind of tee it up the same way I talked about what A&M should expect there. I don't want to set myself up as having unrealistic expectations. So I'm not going to expect him to be Superman. Just like if I'm A&M, I'm not expecting to blow them out. And if I do, I do. And that's a fun Saturday night. But with DJ, I've got to, by, 6 or 7 weeks in now, by this time in the season, I got to assume I kind of know what I have. You should not still be in a cloud of mystery about what your team is this deep in the season, especially as a coaching staff. Fans are different. So I don't look at them as needing DJ Lagway to run the ball all over the place to win games. It's a luxury, but he's got a plenty big enough arm. They got a plenty big enough ground game, traditional ground game, that they should be able to win games. They should be able to compete in any game they play. I just think he's going to be a limited player. His athletic profile is going to be a little bit limited because you can't uninjure yourself. And so he's not the only quarterback that I would describe that way. But I think the other thing that I personally overlooked with him in anointing him the number one quarterback in the league coming into the year, which I do regret. Yes. So I won't make you ask me the question. I'll ask myself, yes, I do have a regret or two about that. But the thing I don't think I paid enough attention to is him coming in the second half of last year. So he was a starter for like half a year. And then he has the injury, which means he can't work out in the winter really the way you normally would. He did not go through spring ball, so he doesn't have that. And he just hadn't played a lot of football, David. He really hasn't played a ton of football to the point where this point in the year is the equivalent of him having finally gotten all the reps he would have gotten in spring and having gone through summer workouts. And it's kind of like week one for him in terms of workload, in terms of absorbing everything that you would normally absorb, except that fall game week reps are different than spring reps. You're not working on things. You're not installing things. You're not doing all that in the fall. So I think that's hampered him a little bit. The injury stuff is the reason for that. Doesn't mean they couldn't come out on fire Saturday, though.
Josh, considering some of the issues the Texas offensive line has had and how good the Oklahoma defensive line is, how do you see that game playing out, which still a TBD on quarterback for Oklahoma?
Yeah. So I look at teams like Texas a little bit different. If it was Tulsa, if it were Memphis, you should have a disadvantage on the lines of scrimmage. Texas should never have that. They did not attack the portal at offensive line, at least. They were very comfortable with their guys in their building and their coaching staff. That's what's got to work. That's what's got to get the job done for you. Now, the way I look at it is sometimes you've got a team or you got a position room that's so loaded, it's like a sponge that's full of water, and just barely squeezing it will produce water. Other times you have some water in a sponge, but it's not all the way full, and you got to squeeze the sponge a lot harder to get water out of it. I think Texas, and I think a lot of Texas right now, offensive line included, is a case where there's still enough water in the sponge. That coaching staff's just realizing, wow, we got to squeeze this thing a lot harder than we ever thought we were going to need to. We got to win on the margins. Even though we're Texas, that Longhorn logo alone is not going to run the ball for 5.5 yards per carry for us. We're going to have to do the work. And they can. But, man, when you don't have the threat at quarterback that some thought they would have, when teams don't have to respect the profile of Arch Manning to the degree you thought they would, it bottles things up. It makes it tough. And think about this. They struggled against Ohio State. Those next few games were the time to figure it out. Those were the games where you got to get your stuff straight because you're going to dive back in eventually, go to Gainesville, and it's on at that point. It's conference play at that point. And it doesn't look like they figured it out yet. And so now you leave yourself no choice. You got to try and figure it out against one of the best defenses in the country in a do-or-die game for you. I would call it a do-or-die game for them in terms of preseason expectation. In the Red River Shootout, I will say this, man, I don't know how it's going to happen. I expect an inspired performance from them. Like, that's a very prideful program. That's a talented team. That's a really highly paid, prideful coaching staff. Those kind of outfits do not go down without a fight. I think the same thing about Auburn this week. I thought the same thing about Florida last week. There are a lot of teams in that position right now, and just in the SEC this week. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Josh, did Alabama expose Vanderbilt this year, or is it as simple as Vanderbilt's a real team that made 2 costly turnovers that changed the way that game was played? Because I'm watching, I'm thinking Vanderbilt's every bit as good as Alabama, except for this turnover. And except for this turnover.
I think it's what you said in the latter part there. That I don't know that I've talked to a single Alabama person or heard anyone describe that game as anything other than a really good high-level football game. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about how misleading the result was. If anything, if they say it's misleading, They're probably telling you Bama tacked on a score at the end to make it look more comfortable than it was. That wasn't a comfortable game at all. I thought, and I think you and I may have talked about this last week, I thought to myself, if you show me the first quarter of that game, I'll know how it's going to go. Well, that ended up not being true at all, because the first quarter of the game felt like the fifth quarter of last year's game, basically, just an extension of it. They busted a long run early, and my fear for Alabama would have been, if they don't have answers early, it's just going to be another one of those days they're not going to have answers. And they did. You got to credit that defensive staff, man. They clamped down. I think it was 30-7 after the first quarter that they ended up outscoring them. They shut them out in the second half. I did not expect that, to be honest with you. So they were turnovers, but they were forced turnovers. Keep that in mind down in the red zone. So that's an opportunistic defense there. Bama folks are uncomfortable with it because Bama folks have watched their defense just suffocate people in years past. And that's not the way that's going to happen there, nor almost anywhere anymore, because you can't stack quality depth like that. So if there's a little bending but no breaking, maybe it doesn't look like it did 10 years ago at Alabama. But, I mean, David, sometimes you overthink the room on football, and really on defense, it comes down to how many points does the other team have on the board? If they got 14, you should be okay at home. That's really what it comes down to. Same thing with Georgia the week before. There were periods where Bama looked really exposed defensively, but then you look up and, wow, Georgia's struggling to top 20 in Athens. That's a nice afternoon. That's a nice evening for us. Now they get to go face Eli Drinkwitz off a bye, by the way. So that ought to be fun for them.
Josh, I want to close out with a question about dynasties. I know you did a segment on it, and I don't know how much you've paid attention to pro sports, but for instance, do you consider the Chiefs in the NFL, the Astros, Dodgers, and the MLB semi-dynasty-ish in today's world? And is that kind of what you're talking about when we look at college football moving ahead, at maybe dynasties not being around or not being the same way we saw what maybe Georgia was doing towards the end or here a couple years back, or what Alabama was doing? Is that kind of what you're alluding to?
Yeah, I would say Kansas City feels like that to me. In pro sports, it's more a feel thing. I don't have like set parameters. But in college football, the whole point I was making was the climate existed for a long time. It was almost like a funnel. College football set up like a funnel, and you've got an Alabama at the bottom. And a lot of the mechanisms of the sport are tilted Alabama's way. Not just Alabama. You could have done what Saban did at Texas, at Florida, at Georgia. There are a number of places you could have done it. He just did it at Alabama. So the sport is still tilted towards 10 or 15 programs. It's just that the landscape leveled out a whole lot more. And so in the aggregate, what you have, it's very simple. Watch Georgia right now. Georgia has starting former defensive linemen elsewhere. They got starting corners elsewhere. Those used to be the guys sitting on the bench waiting to play in the second half for Kirby Smart. Or when one guy went down, that was Kirby Smart's answer off the bench. Well, those guys don't exist anymore. So what you have is, not only do you have the rosters way thinner for the top teams than they used to be, we're also adding a 9th conference game next year. So the schedules are getting tougher than they used to be. And I don't know how you run a string of titles off. I don't know how anyone would do that. You also have a lot more variance in the fact that you have to win, 3 or 4 games if you get in the playoff than you used to have to win. Now, if you get, it's hard to get there, but once you get there, it's 2 wins and you win a title. So I don't even know what a dynasty is in college football anymore. I think I would have to recalibrate my mentality on a college football dynasty to just be someone who's made the playoffs X many years in a row. But then if you haven't won a title in there, they'll say, oh, yeah, he's just a whole lot of very good, but no great in there, which would be fair, I guess. So I don't know. I think Nick Saban's a genius. Nick Saban got in at the right time, got out at the right time, and now he gets paid to go talk about others trying to match what he did, knowing full well they can't do it. They probably couldn't do it on the best of terms. They certainly can't do it under the current terms.
Josh, great stuff, brother. Thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate it, David.
Later, buddy. Josh Pate there, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. We'll hit a break. We will come back and we'll talk to a little KBTX time here on the other side. Right now, I want to talk to you about Heritage Films. They're preserving family stories that would otherwise be lost for the future generations. My buddy Chance McClain, that's his company. He's the founder. And they don't just make documentaries. They're capturing your dad's journey, your mom's journey, your grandfather's struggles, your family's entire legacy, and these professional cinematic films that aren't just random videos. These are like HBO-style, Netflix-style documentaries for your family, for the future, crafting a story that your kids and grandkids and generations after will come to treasure. Trust me, you'll regret it if you don't do it soon enough. Call Chance up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341, or go to yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com. This isn't just a service. It's the time machine for your family's most precious memories. It is Heritage Films. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right. All right, we're back, keeping it rolling here on TexAgs Live. Jair Brooks-Davis of KBTX joining us to just break down all things. I think your mic pack is not on, by the way. They told me just to have you turn it on. But we're going to kind of break down the Mississippi State game, and then we got to obviously start turning the page to Florida, which I think we've been trying to do this week. Let me do that for you. You got it?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Okay, you're good.
You're good. Okay, then perfect.
All right. So how did they get it done, in your opinion? Like, look, they should beat Mississippi State, right? I think they should beat Florida, but that should is not as strong, even though I think both teams are good. How do they get it done against Mississippi State in your eyes?
Well, actually, David, let's take it back to 2 weeks ago, what I said of what was going to stand out for Texas A&M. And I said that it was going to be the defense. And it was the defense against Mississippi State. Of course, they got off to a 3-0 lead. But after that, defense was able to hold it down. Marcel Reed was able to find Casey Concepcion with that touchdown pass in the first half. And then everything started rolling there offensively for A&M. But, of course, it's the defense and what they've been able to do. And, of course, Damian Sanford, Cassius Howell leading the way.
I mean, if you think about it, too, they basically had one drive in the first half. That was a really good drive, by the way. They were able to run. They threw some passes. And other than that, it was till the very end of the game. They gave up 9 points. They gave up 10 points in the week prior. So they've given up 19 points in SEC play. And they've gotten contributions from several different places, but one of those is Damian Sanford. So talk a little bit about some of the defensive guys that you've noticed.
Well, of course, it's going to be Damian Sanford and Cassius Howell, but I'm going to have to say the team as well, too, has just been gelling well, or the defense has been gelling well. If I may recall back in sort of during training camp, Jay Bateman spoke about what it means to have these guys have a second year in that system as well, too. And certainly it's been able to pay off for Texas A&M throughout the whole entire season, and especially heading into SEC play. They learned a lot from that Notre Dame game.
What's your biggest takeaway offensively so far?
The biggest takeaway offensively is that they need to get off to slightly better starts offensively. Maybe Marcel Reed they need to find more sets for Marcel Reed to use his legs. But so far in the passing game, he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think maybe just simplifying some of those passes early on, some of those shorter dinks and dunks, just to get his confidence going. Kind of like just, in baseball, dropping a bunt or hitting an easy layup. Sometimes you just need a couple things to go your way to get you just, because he has seemed to overthrow a little bit early on, especially.
Yeah, and also one thing that I want to say about the offense, of course, we've seen what Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver have been able to do, but I feel like there's going to be one game that's going to come up where we're going to have to see an Ashton Bethel Roman, Terry Bussier, maybe even Theo Mellon Orstrom step up and maybe receive for, I'm going to have to say, 50 or more yards in that game. But it's going to be very clutch for them.
Yeah. The thing is, though, if you try to take away Mario, you got KC. If you try to take away both of them, okay, we're going to run down the middle, and now you're going to have to stop. So I think A&M is positioned well. Is there any particular player that has surprised you this year? Like, I wasn't expecting that. I know Sanford's got to be one of them.
Sanford is going to be one of them. I feel like I could say Marcel Reed. I thought that he was going to be fine heading into this year. I thought he was going to be good heading into this year, but so far he has been great this year in what he's been able to do.
Yeah. I'm going to throw in one more, too. I knew Ruben was going to be good, but that performance, I wasn't expecting 142 yards. So, and the fact that he's coming back from a major injury, the fact that Le'Veon was a little banged up and he came in. I think Ruben, seeing that performance from Ruben gives me confidence moving forward if it's Le'Veon or if it's Ruben.
Yeah, and that's a great problem to have for Mike Elko, especially in that running back room. To whenever Le'Veon is out, you can go to Ruben, and either one can go for, I would say, 120 yards or more a night, depending on what the opposing defense does. And then even think about the linebacker room. Damian Sanford, he's been able to step up, and who knows when Scooby Williams is going to come back from injury or whatever he's been dealing with.
Yep.
So I think that it's all great problems for Mike Elko and his staff.
What concerns you about Florida?
I'm going to have to say Dallas Wilson. I think that DJ Lagway is a better passer. I think that he is a better passer than Blake Shapen. So I think that, just Texas A&M's their secondary, they haven't been able to do that. Well, I don't think that they've had that much of an opportunity in the last few games, especially against like elite receivers. So Dallas Wilson, I'll say, is a concern.
Yeah, the Auburn wide receiver crew, they did so well against Cam Coleman. I think that is a good comp. But what we saw from Dallas Wilson last week was very impressive against Texas. All right, so give me let's close up with this: 3 things that A&M must do this weekend.
A&M, I think, must get to a much hotter start offensively. That is number one.
Yep.
I think that Damian Sanford is going to need to have another clutch game, and just be very wary of Florida. They just came off of a win against Texas, so you never know what can happen in the SEC.
Yeah, and Florida's got a lot of talent, man. They've got quite a bit. Jair, good stuff, man. Thanks very much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll have Jamie Morrison here in studio, chit-chat about that huge matchup against Kentucky tomorrow. Right now, though, we're talking about Rollo Insurance. What separates Rollo from everybody else is you get a personal agent. Now, other places may give you a personal agent. I don't know if you're getting their cell phone. Hopefully you are. But at Rollo, you're texting, you're talking to your guy. You get that direct number, not a call center, not an automated system. They're the official insurance provider of TexAgs Live, and the difference is real. They have 60 offices in the great state of Texas, but the beauty is they're right here in College Station. Their headquarters is on Highway 6, and they'll take great care of you, whether it's home, auto, business, or ranch insurance. Start a relationship with experts who put you first, where your agent becomes familiar with your unique situation. When you need advice or have a claim, you'll speak directly to your agent and somebody who knows you by name and your whole story. That is the Rollo difference. Visit rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Or call them up 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. All right, we got a top 10 showdown at Reed coming up. Number 9, Texas A&M volleyball enters the biggest test of the season. 7-match win streak and a perfect 4-0 start in the SEC. The Aggies are going to host number 3 Kentucky here at 6 p.m. at Reed Arena. And we've got Jamie Morrison in the house to talk all about it.
Happy to be here.
How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Before we get going, I know we've been talking about volleyball for 3 hours a day, every day, and how we're going to stop delay and how we're going to stop Hudson. But can we give it up for football?
How about them?
I know. No, in all seriousness, I got a lot of respect for what Mike's doing, and I think for the program and the school. So, and then soccer, getting a win over TUE last week. So a lot of good things going on. So back to volleyball now. Well,
how about I give you some props?
All right.
This is 2 weeks in a row where the swag you walk in here with, like this guy's wardrobe is ridiculous. This is the old school 1975 logo with the old school Adidas logo itself.
Yep.
This is nice.
No, like I've been pushing for, I don't know, this for a while. I'm happy it happened with football. And just I think the Trifles, like it's the brand that I think kids want to be associated with, and I'm happy it's trending in this direction.
Yeah, and you told me that it's sold out, so when it gets back online, I've got to get that. So
I'll try to point it out when it does get back online.
So, all right, let's talk about how the last week has gone and just how you're feeling about things.
Yeah, I feel great. I've been talking to our team just on the things that I think will make me happy. I've been had a happiness scale based on certain things, and ability to make small touches have just improved every single match that we've been playing. And I think with that has come some really, really good stats. We're leading the conference right now in terms of ability to keep people to a low hitting efficiency, and we're in the top 4, I think, offensively. So I think all of those things are starting to build on each other right now. I think the serving pass game has really kind of become dominant for us. So a lot of good things have been building until this week. So I'm hoping we see that on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I mean, you can copy and paste some of the questions I asked you last week, but it's been a back-to-back weeks. I mean, just I know you probably can't come up with new ways to describe what she means to this team, this program, but just another stellar week.
And I think I've said it the entire time, just our program is going to be about developing well-rounded volleyball players and well-rounded humans. But on the volleyball side, just her serve has become a weapon. And I think you saw that. And it's less about the 5 aces to me. She served 25 times in 3 sets. That's hard to do with a 12-point run at one point. And she made 1 error. And the rest of them were difficult serves, and it was something that people had to adjust to. And that's what you try to do, I think, as a coach of any team, of any sport. It's, hey, what can I do that is going to cause other people to have to change? Like, what can I impart on them as I'm going through this volleyball match? And I think she's gotten a new weapon from there. And then just her ability to block is really unreal. She's able to be really good in there. And I said this when she won MVP during the summer of a USA event. It's really hard to do that. It's really hard to win Player of the Week 2 weeks in a row as a middle blocker. And I think not just the offense, she's finding other ways to impact the game at a really high level.
What's her personality like?
She's a fighter. She's like, if you were to be like, hey, like, I don't know, describe her, it's like the ultimate competitor. She wants to win everything. She wants to be the best at what she does. And that shows through. It shows through on the floor. But she's going to lean into people.
Is that kind of personality contagious with teammates?
Yeah, it pushes people in that direction. And I think you kind of need that on a team too. You need someone that's going to push and is, never going to back down from something on the other side of the net. So I think she imparts that on people around.
Offensively, I'm looking at some of these numbers. Emily and against Alabama, Logan, just consistent. Kendall as well. Talk to us a little bit about the offensive approach that you've seen.
I think balance. We do, like, one of our core tenets is strength and balance. And I think that's one of the things that you're seeing this year is that, everyone's hitting for high efficiency, but it might not be that one person, and it was Logan in the past, is going off with like 42 kills or something like that. That's being dispersed amongst the team. And it could be dispersed amongst different people on different nights. And I think Logan will probably have one of those nights at some point when somebody decides, hey, we're going to go be really good over here. We got that back there that will streak. But I think it's the balance piece. And I think if you look at what our offense is doing, it's really kind of picking apart the opponent of, hey, this is the weaknesses that they're giving us, and it might be different on different nights. It might be different within the night of identifying, hey, this is the opening that we're going to have, and make sure we pick on it relentlessly. And then the other piece I got to give credit to is, I said it earlier, our serve pass game has become dominant. Like, our offense doesn't operate like that without passers. And our passing has really picked up, I think, over these last 5 or 6 matches to the point where we're pretty nails there and able to keep our offense in system. And for those that don't know volleyball, like, that pass sets things up. If it's on the net, you have all options. And if it's 10 feet off, they slightly go down. And if it's 20 feet off, you get a little bit one-dimensional. So just the ability to keep our offense in that space is really helping us.
Now, before the segment, we were chit-chatting. You told me sometimes you wake up at 4, sometimes you wake up at 5. What time do you go to bed, by the way?
It depends, like 9, 10,
Okay.
11.
Okay.
Somewhere.
So
Like,
normal. Okay.
Hey, I've studied, I don't know, how to optimize things, and I know that sleep's really important. I did a lot of deep dive on that actually prior to the season, and so I usually try to get 8 hours if I can. Last night was a little bit less just because I wanted to get up and get some work done, but usually it's like, hey, I go to bed, I set my alarm for 8 hours later.
Yeah. Are you a Whoop or a?
Neither.
Nah,
and I might get one to measure sleep. My issue, and like this is what other people said, is like when you wake up with a readiness score that's like 10, like it's just like psychological, like I'm going to have a bad day, and I don't want.
It does actually have an effect on you.
Yeah. So
as long as I wait till a little bit later to check it.
So for me, I don't have any of them. I never have. I just try to go the natural way of counting. Like here's 8 hours and try to get them. But I might get one to play around. I like experimenting.
Well, I'm not actually. I mean, I am interested in your sleep, but there was a point to my question. My point is like you have to study a lot for this Kentucky team. I know you mentioned it yesterday at the press conference, but you've been studying film. Tell us what you've seen.
They're good. I brought up. I know you facetiously haven't been talking about DeLay and Hudson the entire week, but they're two really good outside hitters, and I don't think you're going to stop them. You got to contain them a little bit. I think if you look at the matches that other teams have beaten them, they've hit around 200 somewhere in there, which is probably average for an outside hitter. But if you look at kind of the ones they've gone off, it's been 350, 400, which is pretty high. It's like what ours are doing at times. So I think you got to contain them, and then it's not, I don't know, rocket science. I'm going to sound like a broken. You got to play good volleyball.
Yeah.
And there's really, small adjustments that you can make to go contain them, but there's just an emphasis on, hey, we have to pick this up and we have to pick this up. And then they become a little bit more two-dimensional instead of five-dimensional. So I think it's kind of, hey, here's this emphasis of our system that we got to do really, really well, but we got to do what we normally do really well. And it could just end up being that, I feel like I'm educating volleyball right now, but siding out is basically where we're receiving serve, our ability to go score that point. And then the vice versa, our point scoring is when we're serving, like getting them out of system and scoring a point there. But it could just be that both teams are siding out back and forth. And it could just be an offensive slugfest of like, we just got to go to battle and do it that way. So I told our team yesterday that the match could go 85 different directions, or it could be every set we have to win in a different way. But I think we're ready to do that based on just what we talked about in the opening part of this. Just we're playing good volleyball right now.
I think that sounds very similar, not to bring it back to football for a second, but to football. That they have beat teams different ways. Yep. You all have done that this year as well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest difference in ours and football is they have a defensive team and an offense that trades kind of when they're on the court, and ours are out there constantly. And we have, I know this is like what I love our game. It's constant action of like, you're going to go from offense to offense, and it happens, 15 times possibly in one point. So you got to be good at, and everybody has to be good at all of those things all at once. So it's not just like trading off that you're on offense and on defense. And there's kind of 4 phases to our game, but then they bounce back and forth within it quite a bit. So, but again, we've won and lost different ways. And I told our team this. So we played Missouri, and I talked to them before that match, and I knew they were going to dig a lot of balls and send us a lot of free balls, and they did just that. And it was a game where we hit 200 and they hit 050. And then we've had games where somebody hit 190 and we hit 400. So it's very similar, where I think football's kind of been picking up on both sides, and we're starting to get both kind of sides of the ball firing a little bit right now. I think it's the same for us. That it's been different at different times of the year, but I think we're starting to get firing on all cylinders.
And I think you mentioned yesterday they have set a good blueprint. Talking about Kentucky, set a good blueprint of how to build a program. Yeah. Do you see some of the same similarities of how you're doing it, how they did it?
I think 100%, and I think. I was about to say something I'm not allowed to say recruiting-wise. I think if you look at, when I took the job, I started looking back at what programs have risen. Mm-hmm. And I think the most recent 2, it's probably in order, Louisville, Pitt, and then probably Kentucky. I'm probably missing somebody, so if somebody else is listening getting offended, I apologize. But I really kind of looked at those 3 programs, and like Dan Fisher at Pitt's a close friend. I spent some time out with their program a little bit, so I knew that one, but I really looked at kind of, Louisville's roster and kind of how they were playing volleyball on the come up. And then I looked at Kentucky's it was an 8-year process for them to kind of get their program to where it was, maybe 10. I have it written down on paper somewhere. But there was a lot of studying, all right? This is the type of recruits they were bringing in at this time. This is at this time. And kind of this steady rise that happened. And for us, it was when we sat down and started talking about how we're going to build this, can we do it faster? How can we accelerate things a little bit? And I think we've done a good job of that. And our entire staff from the beginning of it and the conversations that we've had have kind of built this into where it is today, and I'm proud of it.
Is your team better mentally now than it was when it went on that DFW trip?
Yeah. I think we talk a lot in our program about you can learn in 3 different ways, and it's trust, history, or heartbreak. And heartbreak's usually toughest one to go through, but it's also the biggest changer. And I think the fact that we lost that, I think it kind of snapped us to attention of like, we need to go back to acting like we were in the preseason. And I think we've done that with imbalance. And like, obviously you have a lot more travel that happens, you have school that happens, and you have all these kind of distractions that pull you in different directions. But I think, and I'll use yesterday as an example, I thought we had a really good practice, and it was this balance of trying to get some people some rest, but also make sure that, hey, these are the 5 things we need to leave practice better at. And we hit all 5 of those. And I left with all of that being like, hey, we got better as a collective unit of 17, but we're also ready for some stuff that Kentucky's going to throw at us.
When you're in here, I love to get inside your mind because we share a lot of similar thoughts. When I was a kid, and we've heard it our whole life, you play like you practice.
Yep.
And sometimes I would have a bad week of practice, whatever team I was on or the team I'm covering, and they'd still win. How frustrating is, I mean, you want to win every time, right? But like, it really is proof and concept, right? When you practice well, you may not win every time, but it does, like, just talk about the coaching side of that.
Yeah, I'll say like this season's been difficult actually in that a little bit, just because like our schedule's been so erratic. Like I'm gonna use this week as an example. Like yesterday, like we couldn't really push hard because we needed to kind of recharge the batteries to go push hard today. So it's one of those things where, and this is where I really respected our team yesterday. We got in there and it wasn't like, let's go, but it was like, all right, let's go get better at these things. And we did it in a very mindful manner, but it wasn't, hey, we're going to go with the intensity that we would in the match.
Right.
But my expectation is that, and I told them, my expectation is that we're going to kind of, conserve a little bit here, and we're going to make sure that we're getting better at these things, and we're going to make sure maybe the people that didn't play are going to push a little bit right now so that we can be great tomorrow. And that'll prep us to go be great. So this year's been a little bit interesting in that, just that we've had weird Wednesday, Fridays, Wednesday, Sundays, the non-con part of our, we had like Tuesday, Wednesday stretch in Dallas, and it's been really hard to push as hard as necessarily I want to this year. So I think we've done a really good job of kind of finding that balance in the middle part. And again, yesterday was a testament to that.
And just last thing for you here, we're running up against a break. Let's get a good crowd tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Let's make the 12th man make a difference. Right?
No, and
it always does. By the way.
No, it's been amazing, and like I don't think I can give enough gratitude and thanks. And somebody asked me about like I was on the TV, like one of my pregame rituals is like talking to the student section, and I'm like, no, I'm just thankful. I'm just thankful that they come out, that they support, and it's not just sitting there and kind of hanging out watching a volleyball match, but they want to get after the opponent. They want to help us, and it does, and it makes a huge, huge difference. So if you're listening and I don't know, you're any type of fan, and again, I just pointed out the student section, but any type of fan, please get out to read on Wednesday. Pack it. You guys make a difference, and you're the reason why you came to this school. So I'm appreciative to the nth degree.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you. Appreciate you. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a really short segment to close out the hour. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. When you're looking for a new vehicle, that's where you start your search. If you're a business owner and you need a new vehicle, they've got it all. They'll help you take it to the next level. They've expanded their selection of commercial vehicles, which means they have service body trucks, they have heavy-duty flatbeds, they have medium-duty trucks, and they can handle all those tough jobs. And they're also a newly designated business elite dealer, which means they know what it takes to keep your company moving forward. And don't forget, when you buy a vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet, it comes with that complimentary oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle. It's about a 15-minute drive. The edge of Bryant at the beginnings of Caldwell, a short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper,
pure results. It's Catalyst. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Polanski at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Typically, I have you read things. I'm going to read something because I just like to make fun of people.
Okay.
That's how I roll. So, Dave and Edmond, you know where I'm going with this?
No.
Okay. Nick, pop in on this. I asked Coach Morrison about, playing like you practice. Because when I was a kid, I thought, like, whatever, dude. I've had terrible practices and I dominated in that T-ball game, right? Like, that's how I felt.
Right.
David Edmond goes, I always play better than I practice. LOL. And that LOL just kind of struck me as like he was, that's come on, man. You did not play like play. You know what I'm saying? I hated that saying growing up. David Edmond, I only kid with you because I love you. You know, and I know you get your feelings hurt and you'll send 19 texts about it and you'll get blocked again by other people. But it just, if you think you're Michael Jordan talent, right? And you don't have to work hard, the best athletes of all time, the very best. I'm doing a lot of talking here, Nick. I want you to talk too. Worked harder than everybody else, and they played like they practiced. Michael, Kobe, Cristiano. I know there's a big soccer contingency listening. Like, the best of the best. That's why they were great. All right, Nick, just talk, please.
I agree with what you're saying. I don't. I played sports up until like high school, so I don't remember what my practices were like. But yeah, I know. There's no athlete that doesn't take their practice seriously.
Well, I mean, there are, but like sometimes you are just gifted enough that you don't have to, or the competition you're playing, right, at the rec league soccer game isn't as good, right? But to maximize greatness, you better treat that with the focus. Like, it's not a flex. I didn't have to practice hard. Like, the flex is, look, here's the truth. I'm the worst athlete probably in the building, but I will outwork most people. That's the flex. Not like I didn't have to. You work hard. Oh, that sucks. Anyway.
I think you and Dave should play one-on-one basketball.
It doesn't matter what sport it is, bro. I don't care. Give them nunchucks. I'll still win. We'll be back. It's TexAgs Live. All right, we're back. We're going to keep it real here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 3 of the program. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. That's where we find our friend, Jordan Pugh. What's up, bro?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Where are you? Well, I know where you are. I can see it, but the sound sounds different than usual.
Oh, well, you're probably hearing K-pop Demon Hunters in the background, man. 'Cause I got my 7-month-old over here, so I'm on daddy duty right now.
Oh, I get that. Heck yeah. I love it. Hey, I wasn't planning on starting the segment with this, but I just think it's interesting. We just finished a segment randomly talking about you play like you practice, and a guy that comments on the show a lot says he didn't practice very hard, and we just had a whole riff on it. And I was telling him I didn't think it was a flex. But then John in Cyprus mentions to me, hey, by the way, Johnny Football didn't practice and didn't watch film. LOL. So there are examples of greatness but my response to that is imagine if he did.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's true. And trust me, I've been around plenty of guys that are like that. All right. Some guys are just God-given ability, man. They show up on the field. It just is what it is, right? Johnny was one of those guys. And there's plenty I can name in the NFL as well that were like that, man. Missed a lot of practice, wouldn't be awake in the meetings, but go out there and just do what they do. So, I mean, it's kind of a gift and a curse. But when you do have those guys, it's special, though. It's special talents, man. So I wouldn't recommend it. I highly wouldn't recommend it. But you have the anomalies here and there.
So I have 4 kids that participate in sports, and the ones that work the hardest are the ones that are talented, but not the elite talent. And then the one who's an elite talent doesn't work as hard as the other one. So it's fun. Like, they're all gifted in their own ways, but like I like a mindset of like Kobe and Michael that had to work for every inch.
Well, it's kind of twofold, right? Well, because one thing that I tell all of my players is this: as you rise each level, man, the talent equals out, right? When you go from high school to college, it's the best of the best in high school. That's at the D1 level. When you go from college to the pros, it's the best of the best. It's less than the 1% of the world who does it, right? So talent is relatively equal from the Hall of Famer down to the practice squad guy, right? But it's a guy who's the most consistent. But then you have those anomalies, man. You have those guys that just they were blessed with 6'6", 290, like a Julius Peppers, for example, that I had the opportunity to meet and play with. Those guys they just have it. It just is what it is. They can wake up, don't stretch, don't do anything, and get out there and dominate. So it's one of those twofolds, man. It's just God-given ability.
Jordan, how real is this defense? And before you answer that, I'm going to kind of take this in parts because
yeah.
There's one part of my mind that remembers last year. New year. Why do I remember? Who cares? It's different, right? But I have that. I had the very beginning of the year. Literally, I got one play. I got the Robert Henry Jr. play that upset me. And like I go back to that UTSA game. But what they've done in SEC play has been phenomenal. So how real is this defense?
I'm like you. They're starting to impress me. They're really starting to impress me. And I think that they've improved every single week. So every single week they've gotten better, right? But I think they found their identity. You're talking about a team that can pressure the quarterback, but we've started to stifle the run game. I know when we talked about the Notre Dame game, we talked about earning the right to rush the passer. That starts with stopping the run. And you were seeing us control the line of scrimmage, right? And I think that you're seeing the strength of the team starting to take place. You're seeing the strength of the team being held in that front seven, in particular those rush-ins that we have. But as far as the improvements are concerned, man, we're not giving up the big runs like we did at the beginning of the season. We're a lot more gap sound. We're containing the run. We're containing the quarterback. And we're dictating to the offense what we want to do. I'm really starting to get excited about what we're doing defensively. This game against Mississippi State had my antennas up, right? And being able to see how we broke them as the game went on. They had their spurts here and there at the beginning of the game. We figured it out. We calmed down. We came into our zone and our rhythm. But we started to dominate as the later rounds or the later quarters started going on, right? That's what you want to see from a dominant defense. I think they have an opportunity, man, to really stake their claim against, I don't want to say against the Florida team, but as the teams, as we go on throughout the season, to really stake their claim and be right up there with the Oklahomas of the world. I think we have that level of defense because we have the front seven that can man that. So I'm excited about what they're doing. I love the progression. I love how they've improved. But most importantly, they're playing as a unit. They're communicating. They're gap sound. That's what you want to see.
Well, and when you consider that Mississippi State, look, they have a good run game. They were averaging 205 yards a game before they played A&M. They held them to 77 yards. We know that they got some receivers that can make plays. They threw for 142 yards. Auburn came in with a great run game. I'm not saying that that's going to happen necessarily against Florida, but it's just showing examples of they'll take something out of your game that you expect to be able to be the foundation of your offense.
Well, what they're doing is they're showing multiple ways to win, right? On both sides of the ball, from offensively to defensively, they're showing you that, okay, we can take away the run, we can take away your pass, we can key on your best player, and we can force you to make us beat us somewhere else, right? So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the evolution of the defense. You're seeing the defense coming to its own. But man, like you said, being able to take away the best players, the certain type of style of game that they want to play, you're seeing us stand up each and every week. And that's what you want from a defense. Look, defense travels. There's going to be weeks where offenses are slow. There's going to be weeks where offenses are hitting. That's just the nature of the game. But a defense can travel because that's effort-based. That's assignment-based. That's doing your job. So, man, just seeing the maturation from that standpoint week to week, man, that's highly encouraging for the type of run that we want to make.
Talking to Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Do you see parallels with Florida and some of the other teams we've played this year?
Florida's tricky. I still believe that Florida is one of the most dangerous teams. And I think this is going to be our biggest test yet this year because defensively, Florida's defense has been great all year long. They just haven't had the offense to back it up. Then when you look at what they did against Texas last week, they were dominant. The defense played. They were dominating the line of scrimmage. The offense got their rhythm and flow down. So you're looking at a team that's coming off a high, but the question that you got to ask yourself is what Florida team are we getting or what offensive team are we getting? Okay. So they've been up and down, high and low. Those are the scary teams that you play because you don't know exactly what they are. If they're dominant on offense, okay, I know what it is. I know what we need to stop. But man, with them getting guys like Dallas Wilson back, Lagway started catching this rhythm. This is one of those deals where you have to have your antennas up. You have to be on your P's and Q's because they have the athletes to be able to expose you. Then defensively, they're going to give our offense fits. That is a very good defense on that side over there with Florida. So this game is intriguing to me. I think this is going to be one of the toughest tests we have. I think this is going to be one of those fourth quarter, last series type of games that's going to be nut cutting just because of the type of talent that they have. And they play hard, man. They play hard for Napier over there. If we can control the offense, we control the game, okay? But if they found their rhythm, it's going to be a tough task for us. It's going to be a fight. Now, we're the better team. Overall, we can beat you multiple ways. We can beat you running. We can beat you throwing. We can beat you on defense. We have explosive plays on special teams. We have all of that. But we have to be able to stifle the hope, the hype, the chemistry. We got to stifle that early within the game, especially coming off a win against Texas, them catching their groove. We got to eliminate that factor early in the game. If we do that, we'll handle business.
Jordan, if you're taking part of their game out, like, are you trying to stop the run game? Are you trying to make sure that Dallas Wilson doesn't beat you? Do you try to cause chaos for a quarterback in DJ Lagway that has thrown, I think, 7 interceptions on the year, and also seems to be maybe limited with his mobility? Like, how's the best way to attack the Florida offense?
I stop the run. I stop the run early. I go man early in the game. And I tell DJ, prove to me you can beat me throwing the football. Prove it. And if he makes that adjustment, then we can adjust from there because we've proven that we can combo that defensively. We can make those adjustments. But I'm not letting, I think it's Ball, their running back, I'm not letting him get going. I'm not letting it happen because if you do that, you open up the playbook for Napier and you allow a rhythm and a flow. So we got to be able to stop that on first and second downs. I take my chances with my secondary, with my front in their pass game. I think we can win all day long. I think our D-line will be dominant over their offensive line in passing situations. But we got to get to those passing situations. One of the things that you notice when they play Texas, they dominated the first and second down, especially in the run game, allowing DJ to get into a flow, opening up the play action, opening a lot more boots and waggles within their game. And that allowed Dallas Wilson to get one-on-one opportunities. So we can stop that on that first and second down. I think we can control that game as well.
All right, and then offensively, how do you attack Florida?
Okay, so I've been thinking about this for a while, all right? So we had 9,000 rushing yards last week, so we can win that way. we can pass all over the yard. Here's what I think offensively, and it sounds routine and cliche, but I think we live and die with Marcel. That's what I really think. The more and more I start putting my pinpoint on it, the way that he plays is going to carry us no matter what, because the outside weapons we have at the receiver position have proven that they can make plays. The running back position has proven that they can make plays. Our offensive line is held up. But if Marcel can just hone in on the small things as far as when I say hitting the deep ball. We have a lot of opportunities where we miss a lot of deep ball plays that can be touchdowns. Settling his feet in the pocket, where he has a lot of overthrows. There's some inconsistencies, and sometimes we start slow, especially with that Auburn and Mississippi State game. But if he's on, I don't think anybody can stop us in the country. The more and more that I really think about this, we have a three-headed monster at running back. We have the playmakers on the outside. Our offensive line is improving each and every week. But the consistent play of Marcel and being able to trust what he sees, there's still too many times he hesitates. And when he hesitates, we start faltering on offense. That's why I say I think we live and die with him. If he's on, I don't see a team on our schedule that will beat us or that can hang with us. But if he's inconsistent, we're giving them life. We have to be able to take that away. We got to take the life away. And I think that it begins and ends with Marcel.
Jordan, I'll take that even a step further. Like, you can't coach this, I don't think. He's better at the end of games. Like, at his time at A&M, he could have a slow-ish start, but look at how he finished Notre Dame, right? Look how he finished this past week. Like, and we saw it at the end of last year. Gave them a chance to win the Auburn game, the South Carolina game, right? Or not South Carolina. They did make a comeback, but that got away. But the USC game, excuse me. This team, like, seems to be good when the lights are at their brightest.
Yeah. If I was Florida and I'm watching the film from this season, the number one thing I'm saying is we are going to rattle him as much as we can in the first two quarters. I'm bringing everything I have, because what I've noticed is a trend with him having the slow starts, the inconsistencies, but most importantly, not believing what he sees. I have got to figure out a way to confuse him at the beginning of the football game, and that will allow me to stay in it later on in the third and fourth quarter, right? But like you said earlier, the way that he finishes so strong. I have got to work my way in it to where we have got to play a complete game on defense to allow our offense to get that one play, that one series that we need to either tie the game, take the lead, whatever that is. That's how I'm game planning if I'm Florida. But my confidence is in Marcel because it's been countless game-winning drives. There's been countless times that he's closed games out or put us in position to win games based off his play. Like you said, he shines bright when the time is needed. Now let's take the next step, man, and let's put it together for 4 quarters. Trust what you see. Trust your eyes, man, and let it go. And I think once he does that, man, the sky's the limit for what we want to do offensively.
Jordan, let's talk a little bit about Damian Sanford. I know we talked about him last week, but each week he becomes part of the storyline.
If Scooby comes back, does he start?
I think so.
A tough question.
I don't know.
The way he's been playing, I mean, he's been lights out. I was able to get some of the game tape, and I started breaking that down a little bit this morning. When I got it, I mean, he's playing out of this world, man. Him and Torian, you can tell that there's chemistry there. You can tell that they're feeding off each other. I love the way that he rushes the passer. He plays great in the pass game, but man, the way that he's fitting the run as well. I really like, and I have, it's coming from a defensive eye that I have and a defensive bias, but man, I really like the way those two are comboing off each other, him and Torian York. I think that they're playing extremely well off each other, but you see a lot of pre-snap communication between the two. You see them talking. If you see that as a coach, you see two guys who are locked in. Now, I love me some Scooby Williams too. I think Scooby Williams is phenomenal, but man, when you got a guy who's on a heater like that, when you got a guy who's impacting a game like Sanford is, he's hard to take off the field, man. That's one of those deals. I think he's been phenomenal. I love the depth that we've created. That's the one position where I'm not worried about where we are. Put anybody we want in there, but man, he's hard to take off the football field.
All right. Are you concerned about the defensive end named Cassius Howell? I think teams should be concerned about him.
I don't know why he's not getting a lot more national attention. How many sacks does he have this year?
7.
I was trying to. How many?
7.
He has 7 already?
Yeah.
so we're looking at, man, he's phenomenal. That's a first round being, man. Look, get us a third down, let him go to work. Hey, Cass, you just rush the passer, do what you do. But defensively, man, I told you, our front 7 has been solid between Hicks, Regis, seriously on the other side, man. We've been doing what we need to do, especially on the first and second down plays. The only concern that I have, again, is that corner position. I love Des Ricks. Des Ricks has been coming into his own. Will Lee, he's gotten better, and he's improved. Now, from the safety position, this is going to be a key game, I think, for our safeties. Because you know what Florida's going to do. They're going to threaten you downfield. There's going to be a lot of eye manipulation that they want to do in the pass game. So our safeties are going to have to have their best games of the year this year, especially with the type of athletes they have on the outside. So I'm excited, man, about this. But our front seven, man, there's not a worry in the world that I have.
How concerned are you with the penalties?
Very concerned. That's the thing that can keep us from the championship aspirations that we have. A lot of the penalties that we have are in the timing is terrible, but it gives the opponent life. It puts us in bad situations offensively and defensively, of course. But a lot of the penalties come at a bad timing, and it throws the rhythm off of what we want to do. We've got to be able to short it up. And as a coach, I don't know how you fix that, man. You can punish it, you can drill it, you can do whatever. But at the end of the day, you can't control what's on that football field, right? So that's one of those deals where I know Elko scratching his head, man, like, what else can we do to fix this problem? But the players just got to be more disciplined. They got to understand, man, that this could be the thing that can hold you back from ultimately winning championships. Because when you get to these teams, man, like the Missouris of the world that are playing well, that can match you talent for talent, scheme for scheme, those penalties could be the difference maker. So we got to shore that up.
Hey, I want to read you this because Pete Thamel a little while ago, that has nothing to do with the A&M game, but just the Texas OU game coming up. Pete Thamel reports that Oklahoma sources are saying Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer is pushing to return this week for the game against Texas. There's a belief that his return is possible, and he's reacted well to surgery. It was a broken bone in his right throwing hand that took place nearly 2 weeks ago. Him playing against Texas would dovetail with the most optimistic return timelines, as he'd be 17 days out of surgery. How much of a difference does that make this weekend, if that is the case?
Makes a huge difference. If Mateer plays, Oklahoma wins by 3 scores. I am not impressed with Texas. I haven't been impressed with Texas. I think that Oklahoma's defense has been firing. They've had a good defense the past couple of years. They've just missed that quarterback. And I think they found their guy. But I think he has a moxie, but he has an energy that he brings to the football team. And you couldn't have told me that he broke his thumb, I think, against Auburn, because he was playing well.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at a semi-prepared. It's not going to be healthy all year long at this point, but a semi-prepared thumb throwing him, I think if he plays, the energy level just rises. I don't see Texas being viable in this. Oklahoma's a good football team. They're a complete football team. And with him in the mix, that changes everything. That changes the whole dynamic of the offense. So that would be bad news for Texas.
Jordan, I'm going to read you this last text just because it's a prop for you. John sends in, Aggie should be so thankful that we have someone as knowledgeable and insightful as Jordan Pugh on TexAgs. My thought is, how is Chris Sims on TV doing analyzing and Jordan isn't? So people love you when you come on the show, man.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And make sure, man, you print that so I can send it to my wife.
Man. I will screenshot it, send it your way.
Hey, man, I got to give my points as much as I can with her.
I appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, man.
Later.
Let's do it.
That's the guy, Jordan Pugh, here on TexAgs Live on the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Coach G, fresh off a great week there in soccer. We'll chat with him on the other side. When it comes to your money and your peace of mind, it starts with the right team. And Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors is an independent fiduciary firm serving clients across Texas with no commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have 18 professionals, including over 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and their expertise runs deep. At Paragon, credentials do matter, and so does your future. So visit paragon-adv.com or call them up, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Good week for Aggie athletics. Texas A&M soccer earned 4 crucial points last week with a 1-0 victory over Texas, and then they had a scoreless draw against Oklahoma. And now they head to Baton Rouge at the end of the week on Friday night as they are trying to climb above 500. It's coming, postseason positioning. Coach G is in the house to talk all about it. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Funny how winning kind of cures a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So and we've been, like I said, we've been playing better and better every week. It's just we were not putting the ball in the back of the net against a couple top 6 teams in the country, and then Texas comes to town and we can do it. And great crowd, great support out there at Ellis Field, and now we've got to go on another road trip, bus over to Baton Rouge for a Friday night game in Baton Rouge, which is never easy.
No, not easy. How are you all doing it considering the amount of, your defense has been solid, but you've had injuries in the back, you've had injuries at forward. How have you all been able to manage that?
Well, a big part of it is just the personalities of the players. I know it sounds really cliche, but our girls, they don't give up. They fight. They fight through all of it. And Sunday was a good example. We go up to Norman. It's Oklahoma, so it's windy. They're coming off of a huge win, beating Alabama 3-1 in Tuscaloosa. So they're flying high, and they're very stylistically, they're opposite of the way we want to play. And they're all over us in the first probably 15 minutes. And players were able to kind of fight through that, get themselves back on their feet. And then at the end of the game, Oklahoma's hanging on as we're kind of continuing to build our attack and go forward on it. And that was just the steadfastness of who these women are. They are tough. They're really a really tight, united group. I feel really good about the culture of the team, and it's kind of the next person up steps in and does it well. So we should get at least one defender back this week. Tessa Lavender will be back, and she hasn't. She's been injured the whole season, so her coming back helps us with what we can do with our defenders. And then you've got the players that have been just stalwarts. You've got Mia Scranton has been just outstanding. Bella Yakel, who is our captain, just named to one of the national teams of the week for her performance. She's the one who set up the goal against Texas. And even those you look at, we were laughing about with our podcast yesterday that we've been creating so many good chances and missing them. And so, for example, in the Texas game, in the first 2 minutes, one of our players gets in. It's her and the goalkeeper. The goal is as big as Dallas. She hits the post, and it goes wide. And but then we have another ball comes in, header from me to you. Somehow we hit it wide. It's harder to miss than make. And then late in the game, we're still pushing and pressing, and the most improbable goal scores. Yakel hits a low liner. She sees an opening and a gap. Kaylee Noble back heels a ball across the face of goal, and Trinity Buchanan hits with the outside of her foot. Now that's a 1 in 1,000 chance, and we hit that one, but we missed the ones that you could drive a 747 through. So it's that's kind of the way things have been. Is that we have to continue to work on with our forwards on our finishing, of course, but LSU is a team that is not going to give you many looks. You've got to score a good goal against them, and all of them are on average about 7 inches taller than our players. 7 inches.
That's a real number.
That's a real number. Wow. And so it's a deal where we have to be united and with our strength and not just depend on individual stuff because we're at a disadvantage just physically. It's really amazing. They're the biggest team I've ever seen. And again, women will say, if I say it's a big team, I think women say, "Oh, we're not a bunch of fatties."
No, you're saying tall.
I didn't say big. A basketball player to me is a big guy.
Yeah.
Now he might be rail thin, but he's a big guy because he's 6'11". This team is a big team, and they have a lot of length and they have a lot of things that you have to overcome in the way that you play, and we can do that because we've been doing it against great teams. But we've got to do it, and we've got to get the goals.
Trinity's goal too. It stopped a thing, right? Like a thing becomes a bigger thing when you can't score, and getting that, let's play our game.
Right. Well, the thing was, like I said, you missed this chance, we missed that chance, we missed this chance, we missed that one. and then it becomes, oh well, we can never score. Well, that's not how these players think. These players think the next one I'm going to get the next one, I'm going to get the next one, and we'll continue to sharpen up our defense because we've been just fantastic. Mason Veranda has been awesome in goal, as all of our goalkeepers. It's funny, I've been just kind of playing the hot hand as far as our goalkeeping goes because all three of them are big time goalkeepers. But she's been outstanding. She's made some big saves at really key moments. The Oklahoma game was a big time, kind of a last stand a couple times where she had to really fly to make saves, and she did. So we'll take that. We've got a lot to build on. Hopefully we get Lucy Lander back before too long. Hopefully we get Hayden Wilson back. She's missed the whole season so far. So if we can just stack a few more pieces, get a little bit more onto it, then we have a better chance.
Obviously, I know there's time maybe between Sunday, Friday, but the fact that these are long bus rides, I mean, does that take a toll too?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And, and again, like the bus was an hour late picking us up on Saturday. So just little silly things that are out of our control. And how are you going to respond to that? Well, our players just like, okay, whatever, next, let's move on. We're ready to take on any kind of challenges. But yeah, we'll get back. We won't get back that late on Saturday after the game. I mean, we'll get back about 4:00 in the morning. So that's officially early, right?
Super early, yeah.
Right. So that's how it goes right now.
What morale after a week like that? Like I know your team never lost its composure, its focus, but like having a good week like that, a really good week, what does it do for what's still ahead?
Well, I think it sets us up. I mean, yesterday was a much-deserved day off for the team. So today, Tuesday, we'll get back onto the focus being on us. We'll start to turn our attention a little bit to. I'll start to share some information with the players about the opponent, and then as we get into Thursday, then that'll be purely about putting the game plan into place. We'll get on the bus and head over to Louisiana on Thursday and play Friday night.
Coach G, thank you very much.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Yep. When we come back, we'll talk a little Florida football with an insider, break them down. Right now, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland or you already live in Aggieland and need a new job, the Association of Former Students typically has a lot of openings. You should check them out. They have sometimes in communications, fundraising, marketing, sales, you name it. They are the premier alumni association in the whole country, and they play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss out opportunities to help out with Howdy socials, Aggie Ring Day, class reunions, and Aggie Muster and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students.
All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy week, and I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals to make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them, 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables.
All right, let's get a little Florida insider information. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Zach Goodall, Swamp 247, joining us to break it all down. Zach, how are you, buddy?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man. So, simple question to start things off. I watched parts of that Florida-Texas game. Did Florida play really well, or did Texas play really bad? Or is it a little bit of both?
Good question. I think it's a bit of both. I mean, from Florida's perspective, when you compare it to the first 4 weeks of the season, they played immaculate. They played incredible. And they still had some issues there in the second half where they kind of took their foot off the gas, and you'd want to see them close that game much sharper, much cleaner than they did. But yeah, I mean, if I'm to put it in the perspective of what I watched, sans the Long Island game at the beginning of the season, the 3 weeks after that, yeah, Florida played spectacularly, I'd say.
How limited is DJ Lagway, considering he had an injury situation heading into the season? He had the boot, which I know wasn't that big of a deal. He was practicing, and then he looked like he maybe strained something, or I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it in the second half, didn't seem completely mobile. How's his health situation? Is he practicing right now?
Yeah, he's practicing right now. I find it very interesting because to me, there was reports earlier in the offseason that he needed shoulder surgery and didn't get it. So when you look at those first few games where he's missing throws that are really uncharacteristic for him to miss, last year we saw him hit similar throws. My first thought was this guy needed shoulder surgery and didn't get it. So it was interesting against Texas early, in the first half, he has a leg injury. And if anything, I thought his play was sharper from that point on. There's been issues where the offensive line's gotten caught up in some holding penalties this year, and they've seemed to pin that on Lagway, breaking off, not making his progressions and breaking off and trying to do something on his own. Well, to me, that leg injury looked like it made him, it forced him to stay in the pocket, to go through his progressions. And before that, he was already playing a bit sharper than he had on the year. But I thought from that point on, he was really committed to looking off safeties, getting to his second, maybe even third read. In general, again, to put it in comparison to everything we had seen in the season up to this point, even in that Long Island game, I thought that his play left a lot to be desired. He looked like a different quarterback. And now it's crucially important for him to pick up where he left off and make sure that that wasn't just a one-time showing.
Zach, talk to me about this offensive line that I think, 4 out of 5 returning starters? Like, talk to me a little bit about how they've done this year in their chemistry and their ability to open up holes for the running game.
Right. I think not only did they have 4 or 5 starters coming back, it pushed 3,000 snaps from last year coming back on that line. So it was thought to be arguably the strongest position on the team. And I know it's gotten gotten criticized a bit because it hasn't really lived up to that billing. I'm of the opinion it's played a bit better than maybe outsiders are giving them credit for, but their single biggest issue has been penalties. A lot of false starts, again, a lot of holdings in some of these games beforehand, not so much this weekend. But the false starts, especially when you consider the environment they're about to go into at College Station, that's something that they've absolutely needing to clean up. But I don't think they've allowed a ton of pressure. Again, I view that more as DJ kind of breaking off when he's not needed to. Run game has left a little bit to be desired based on the strengths we've seen a bit from last year. Like even this past game, Jaden Baugh, career highs 27 carries, and I know he got a lot of praise for some big runs, but it actually was one of his lesser efficient outings that I've seen out of him. So that's something that they continue to need to make some strides with, is opening up more holes in the run game, if anything.
When they have struggled this year, why? What's been the big issue?
The offensive line?
Just the group in general, just Florida in general.
To me, largely it's been the offense. I think the defense has been very strong, but they've just not been able to necessarily finish plays, get the turnovers in sacks that they needed, that we saw last year at the end of the season. Really, the breakout party in both of those respects was this Texas game. But to me, it's been the offense. Up until this past week, it's been really an anemic unit. They've not been able to lean on their run game because they've gotten down, needed to throw the ball more. DJ Lagway, whether it was because of injury, because of a lack of practice time in the offseason, was not sharp. It never seemed to find any sort of rhythm in the games leading up to Texas, and that's really kind of had a ripple effect across the entire team.
When it comes to Billy Napier's job security, is it one of those things that, like, the Texas game has bought him some grace? Because if not, it could have been a 4 or 5 game losing streak. Or is it one of these things that, like, look, he's going to get this season to figure it out regardless of what happens over the next 3 weeks?
Florida's been super tight-lipped. It's hard to read. The easiest thing for me to read, I think, is last year, right before the season, and then right before the Texas game, which, made the statement very funny, was that he got 2 votes of confidence from Scott Strickland. And this time around, there was like a photo of Scott Strickland looking super pumped up after the win and congratulating Billy. We've not gotten that sense of security from him publicly about what's to come for Billy Napier. And obviously, I wouldn't have expected it given the way the season started. My opinion is that this win, at least, I think everyone was starting to look toward that second bye week when he didn't get let go after the Miami game is okay. If they go into that with another 3 losses after a bye, or even maybe 1 and 2, that could be where things happen. But considering this win comes over a top 10 team in Texas, now outside the top 25, which, it's everyone's opinion on what exactly Texas is at this point. But considering the how monumental that win was, how refreshing it was, considering the streak, it's just really tough to get a read on. It wouldn't surprise me at this point if even Florida loses against Texas A&M, regardless of what happens with Mississippi State, that he could end up seeing the rest of the season. At the same time, if they lose to Mississippi State, and that would obviously assume that they lose on the road at Texas A&M, it wouldn't shock me at the same time if that second bye week is something that's kind of circled on the internal calendar.
In your opinion, was the score indicative of how much of a beating Florida put on Texas?
No, because again, I think that they really struggled in the second half to close out that game. There was the turnover, there were some stalled drives. To me, I thought Florida in the first half and early in the second half really handled Texas, and it wouldn't have surprised me if, with the momentum they had, if they were able to build the score a bit more. At the same time, we've seen this time and time again in the Billy Napier tenure. They like to try and control the clock and not so much thrash the opponent, shut them out in the second half. It was a little too close there at the end, in my opinion. It shouldn't have gotten that close.
We've all seen the highlights. We've seen the reports on Dallas Wilson. What makes him, outside of being 6'3" and a supreme athlete, but what difference did he make? Just his presence alone, his ability to get open alone.
Yeah, I think that those are 2 critical factors in it, because Florida's not had a prototypical X isolation receiver that can go and win the 50-50 balls in the one-on-one matchups more often than not throughout Billy Napier's time here. I mean, you'd even be pressed to find someone who did it as well as Wilson, maybe since Trayvon Grimes in 2020. The size, the speed, it's different. At the same time, he came in with a lot of polish. He's a strong route runner. He's agile for a player of his size, and he's got an immense catch radius, not even just because he's 6'3", but he's got long arms. He can jump. He's got a real vertical threat. To me, he's an all-around receiver. I know that this would get a lot of heat during the offseason, and I didn't mean to suggest that he is the next Jeremiah Smith, right? But when you look at him, you see the similar type of player, the similar type of threat. Again, just that one-on-one guy who can win matchups more often than not. That's exactly what Jeremiah Smith does, what made him so incredibly valuable at Ohio State, even up until this point. Dallas Wilson, again, is a similar type of receiver.
Talking to Zach Goodall here on TexAgs Live. You can check out his work there on 247. Zach, let's. I know we haven't touched a lot on the defense because I know how good they are, but is there a place where they are a bit vulnerable, or no? Are they pretty stacked at all 3 units?
I think the pass rush needs to be effective, just because they've got strong cornerbacks who, at the same time, Cormani McClain is someone that's gotten a lot of praise to begin this season. He was picked on against Texas. He was the one guy that they kept kind of throwing towards, and Arch was able to find some success against. The safeties, they have their days where they're solid in coverage. Jordan Castell had his first interception since 2023, but he can also sometimes be a liability if deep, long developing routes are able to get there. That's where it's so critical for this pass rush, even if they're not necessarily getting home all the time, but is able to get a quarterback off their spot, is able to, just apply some pressure. If that doesn't happen, all of a sudden, you'll see quarterbacks and big play wide receivers start to figure some stuff out against the secondary.
This is going to sound like a stupid question, and I don't mean it to be, but just, does this game come down to which quarterback asserts their will? Last year, we know exactly what Marcel Reed was able to do in his first career start, especially on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Does it come down to that, which quarterback shines?
I think so. And one thing that Florida has really struggled with throughout Billy Napier's time here is the mobile quarterback. And even we saw that, Arch was relatively one-dimensional when he, whether the pressure got there or even on some designs, he was still able to make some things happen with his feet, but he struggled as a passer. Marcel Reed, we saw it last year again in his first career start. He was able to get both things done, both through the air, on the ground, more designs than scrambles. And that's the type of quarterback that Florida has not really been able to shut down, regardless of how well the defense has been playing throughout the season. It's kind of been a kryptonite for them. So when I looked at their schedule, even entering this season, Marcel Reed was one of the players I circled with. Florida's got to be on its P's and Q's to be able to shut a guy like that down. And so far, I mean, maybe they'll come out and play better against mobile quarterbacks than they have in the past, just with how well the defense has been doing. But still, I look at him as the potential legitimate game changer that could daunt Florida's defense.
Zach, remind us what's left for Florida, because I remember their schedule. I mean, I know what they've done already, but it was one of the hardest in the country. Well, and tell us some places that you think that they can maybe get back on the bright side.
I mean, yeah, it's certainly not an easy one at this point. Even Mississippi State coming in and the success they've had this year compared to last, I don't think that will be an easy homecoming game like Florida fans have grown accustomed to over the years. I look at Kentucky as one that, even though it's on the road, it's one that Florida, with the talent they have, should be able to handle. I see Tennessee, especially it being here, as one that should be competitive, but I don't have the numbers in front of me. It's still multiple top 10 games, quite a few top 25 games left on the schedule. So while, they're feeling great coming off this Texas win and a much needed win at that, it doesn't get any easier.
Do you think that they just remembered who they were against Texas, Zach? Like, hey, we can run the ball on anybody, because they hadn't really been doing that. Was it one of those reminders, like, this is the backbone of who we should be offensively?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that it was most importantly on the defensive side of the ball, which was a real struggle. I mean, that's not who Florida was for the first 2.5 seasons of Billy Napier's tenure here. But that last season, that 4-game winning streak, and even a bit before that, the defense did start to find its groove. They were able to create more turnovers, apply more pressure. And again, it's been a solid, bend, don't break kind of unit thus far. But that Texas game was really, to an incredible extent, what they thought it was supposed to look like. And they came out, they were aggressive. Aside from the Miami game, it was the most they've blitzed an FBS team this year. And I don't necessarily think that's something they're going to try and replicate this week, just given the threat of Marcel Reed being able to break out. But that defense is supposed to operate like that. It's supposed to make life easier for the offense. And they just hadn't really been able to get to that point in the games leading up to Texas.
That is Zach Goodall. You can check out his work at Swap247. Zach, thanks for your time, man.
Thank you.
Take care. Zach Goodall breaking it down there on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short segment to close out the program. It is TexAgs Live. We're back, for 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe. TexAgs Live, we're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Please tell me that, Popo, that there's some good commentary to discuss. Please tell me one or two good things.
Yes. Okay, I have a question.
I got an answer.
Bocus from Katie said, "Morning, guys. This Florida team scares me as so far in this series. The road team has dominated. I hope Elko and team are taking this game with the most respect and preparation. What do you guys think about the history of this series?"
I don't care. No disrespect, both. I like your question. I don't care about history because this year is about making new history, right?
Right.
And one thing that we have seen Coach Elko do at Texas A&M is buck the trend. They didn't have a road game victory in years. They won last year at Florida to start off the year. They hadn't beat a top 10 team on the road in years. They did that this year, okay? They are, look, while I recognize that until we break through completely, and of course that means the national championship, playoff berth, all the great things, we're going to always resort back to years past. But I do believe that this A&M team, if they don't mess it up, glad I didn't use a different word, they should win enough games to be in the playoffs, right? There's going to be a landmine this season that you're not expecting. How do you maneuver past that? Or how do you maneuver during that, right? Mississippi State could have been a landmine had the first half been, duplicated in the second half. But A&M made the right changes, and they started finishing their drives. This is a higher weight class, in my opinion. I think Florida is I know when Coach Elko made the comment, this is the most talented team that they have faced. He may not be that off, right? Because that receiving core with that quarterback when healthy, with those running backs, with 4 out of 5 offensive line returners and a great defense, they haven't all put it together, outside of the Texas game. But they are a team that really, really does have my attention. And if you're A&M, you have to clean up some of those mistakes because I don't know if that'll fly against this Florida team if they figure things out.
Actual series history, by the way. I know you said you don't care, but A&M does lead the series 4-3.
I care about that. I care about that they've won more than they've lost. You got time for a 12-second message.
Yes. Someone sent in a screenshot of Luke Evangelist's tweet, and it says, "It's Charean York versus DJ Lagway week. And for those who don't know, this is a beef that goes all the way back to high school. Temple versus Willis, 3-star versus 5-star. York has won the last 2 meetings over Lagway. Chapter 3 on Saturday."
Chapter 3 it is. I just want to win. We'll see you mañana, guys. Thanks so much for watching and listening.